Number 3, Jessica Pegula in the Mubadala DC Open Final. The Filipina star fought back from a set down to win 4-6, 6-4, 6-love. Ayala claimed her first WTA Tour level and WTA 500 crown after a giant slaying run that also saw her defeat Zheng Qinwen, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, and Naomi Osaka. The historic win lifted Ayala 8 spots to a career-high world number 20. She now heads to the Canadian Open in Toronto, where she is seated 25th and has a first-round bye. So what is delayed is not denied. This was the match that was rained out. It was scheduled for August 3 midnight Philippine time, and then they moved it to 3 a.m. It was still raining. Then hindi na talaga kinaya, so they moved it to another day. Alex actually came in behind when they resumed play. She was the score was 4-6, 2-1. But this is not the first time that Alex has also won via comeback. She defeated Leylah Fernandez. She was down 5-1 in the second set. So, you know, we're seeing something so amazing for Filipinos. She's opening up the world of tennis to so many kids who are inspired by her, who want to be like her, and of course, as titas, hindi ko kasama sa titas, sorry.
Ate.
As the ate. Diba? We're just so proud. Like, it's just so wonderful to watch.
We're so happy for Alex. When I read the news earlier this morning, I got goosebumps, right? We're so happy because this is her first WTA title in a singles tournament. And after her game and after her match, she said it was just an explosion of emotions because I don't know if you saw the video, right? After she realized she won the title, she fell to the ground. She was, you know, overwhelmed with all these emotions because, as she mentioned, there were nerves building up for weeks, right? And to win this title, oh my gosh, it means so much for Alex. But it won't be long until we watch Alex again because she will be competing in the National Bank Open on Wednesday. Right? So that's in Toronto, Canada. And as early as now, tickets are already sold out for the opening game. So imagine the impact that she has made.
And it's I can tell the feeling of how she won this match because sabi nga natin yesterday, this was no easy fit for her because Pagudala, di ba, defeated her already in the first game. Pero ito, nanalo siya. So congratulations. It's really amazing to see or to witness her journey, di ba, from coming in from 100 plus ranks until now, 20, tama ba? 20 na siya. So congratulations kay Ayala. We are very proud of you. And speaking of kids, no, over the weekend, we went to Celebrity Sports near our place and I saw a lot of little kids. Nagpa-play sila ng tennis. Nagpapaturo sila. Tennis lessons sila doon. So sabi ko, these gusto talaga nilang maging Alex Ayala. But yun nga, isa lang din sa favor ko lang sa mga tao, sa mga kapwa Filipino natin, kapwa kapatid natin because there are a lot of tawag dito, mga nakita ko sa social media questioning or talking about the color of her clothes, linking it to mga political alliances. So sabi ko gano'n, please lang, do not touch her. Diba? Si Alex Ayala na nga lang yung nagli-link sa atin na we can be a United Nation, United country because of her. Tapos lagyan nyo pa ng not her, please. Huwag po natin lagyan ang political color yan.
Can't she just wear green?
Exactly.
Naka-power color niya yan. She looked really good in green yesterday.
Ayun lang. Basta congratulations. Do not touch her. The office of the Vice President Sara Duterte allegedly violated audit rules in spending 125 billion pesos in confidential funds. Former COA Auditor Roderick Wamil told the impeachment court that the OVP submitted an incomplete financial plan and used some funds for expenses not allowed under the rules. These included 40 million pesos for medical and food assistance as well as payments to informants without proof of successful intelligence operations. Wamil also said the OVP submitted only acknowledgement receipts for goods, medicines, supplies, furniture, and computers without official receipts or invoices. The prosecution also presented receipts bearing the names Mary Grace Piatos, Renan Piatos, Andy Lim, Miko Harina, and Alejandro Piquit. Mary Grace Piatos supposedly received 70,000 pesos for medicine, while Renan Piatos received 110,000 pesos for the purchase of information.
In the name of Odi or Andy C. Lim for 50,000 pesos. Andilim. Kanya ko pala hindi mabasa. Andilim. Para kay Andilim.
December 27, 2023 is outside the coverage po nung kanilang period of disbursement, which is December 21 to 31, 2022.
Kung merong Andilim, siguro dahil
Objection,
pikit.
Your Honor. I'm sorry, but I've been giving leeway to opposing counsel, but I think she's been coloring, the contents of the documents more than what is shown
Your
in the
Honor, I'm
document
just reading. It
itself.
says here. And
No,
counsel
Your
can
Honor.
It says Andilim.
Sorry, Pawi, wala yung Mickey Mango mo.
Your favorite.
Baka
Mickey
naman
Mango.
mapag-usapan pa nila yan sa mga susunod na
Oo,
araw.
nako.
Because we have to remember, ito pa lang daw yung from December 21 to
Yes.
31, 2023.
Oo.
Baka lumabas si Mickey Mango.
Mickey Mango. Pero may bago akong favorite eh. Oo.
Sino?
Si Sis Fronyo.
Balsac.
Diba? New characters unlock eh. Ang dami.
Ang dami. Pero yun nga sinasabi nila, they cannot just say na ito ay talagang mga aliases lang. Dahil we will know throughout
Yes.
the hearing, we'll see. No? Pero yun nga, focus muna tayo dun sa napag-usapan yesterday, what happened there. Of course, the prosecution presented 15 boxes containing documentary evidence in relation nga dito sa alleged misuse ng confidential funds ni VP Sara Duterte. And if you can remember, I've always asked this to our guest here, why does the Office of the Vice President have confidential funds? Now, I understand that the Congress approved that budget, but yun nga, she was the one who asked for this diba? So, kailangan din natin ng accountability, liquidation ito, which is yun yung they were trying to prove yesterday, yung what you call this, yung prosecution. Because they're saying outside the disbursement period, which is yung 2022, December 21 to 31, ay supposedly nangyari yung project, but the ARs or the acknowledgement receipts, ang date noon ay 2023. And we all know naman what an acknowledged receipt is, di ba? Yung parang lang yan kaliwaan lang yan. So, dapat mismong date lang din supposedly yun. Pero aside from this, nasabi din ng COA, acknowledgement receipts are not enough. Kailangan may mga documentary evidence or documents that support that claim. And number one also, there's no physical financial plan, which is very important daw sa confidential fund, according sa rules, na kinakailangan ng isang opisyal na merong confidential funds, ay meron silang plano kung bakit nila gagawin ito, para saan, anong goal, and what budget are you allocating for that specific plan.
To add to your question a while ago, also, why would the Department of Education need confidential funds? But also, yung isang interesting discussion yesterday was yung tinatanong nga, kaya bakit kulang yung information na binigay, kulang yung documents na binigay sa COA, yung mga pinagbilhan.
Yes.
Bakit walang resibo? Yung sinabi nga ni Attorney Wamil was, yung confidential is yung paggagamitan, not yung pinagbilhan. Because yun na nga, since it is from public funds, they have to do strict compliance.
Yes.
They have guidelines. So dito yung lagi nilang sinasabi, the joint circular. So he was following the guidelines listed in that joint circular, kung ano yung mga kailangan isubmit na documents to prove that the funds went where they were supposed to. Pero meron din daw siyang nasabi na there were certain purchases or certain expenses that were not in the list of allowed expenses.
Kasi, di ba, ginamit rin yung confidential funds to buy medicines,
Yes.
tables,
Reward,
travel
ginawang
paddles.
reward, oo.
Yeah, and even the safe houses, of
Food
course, that
aid.
were brought up now, na where 16 million pesos were spent to fund safe houses. Sabi ko nga, saan ba yan? Sa Amanpulo ba yan? 200,000 a night, diba?
11 days, eh.
Bongga naman ng
Grabe.
safe house na yan. But yesterday, what the prosecution really emphasized is that confidential funds, and while they are confidential in nature, they are not exempt from the liquidation requirements, documentation requirements of the Commission on Audit, and they're not exempt from the scrutiny also, diba, of the auditing office. So last week, the bank managers, the bank officials highlighted that the transactions were unusual, but yesterday, Attorney Wamil stressed naman and highlighted na the audit report, the liquidation was irregular. So tignan natin how they will continue examining the witness today. Si Attorney Wamil pa rin naman, diba?
It's still direct.
Direct
Yun
pa
pa
rin.
wala pa yung
Oo,
cross.
totoo. And may dagdag ko lang kasi lagi ko rin yan tinatanong. I first learned about yung COA DBM circular noong 2024, if I'm not mistaken, when we were interviewing Attorney Nery Colmenares. And he pointed that out na hindi po pwede na porket confidential funds ka, ay magtago ka na lang doon nga sa mantle na may mga aliases. Meron ka pa rin pananagutan. And this is yung mga envelope na pwede mong paglagyan ng mga totoong information from that intelligence operation. And doon din daw sa COA DBM Joint Circular 2015-1 ay meron din provision doon that states na when a public official or an accountable official fails to liquidate for public funds, meron presumption of guilt. So kailangan patunayan ng kampo ni VP Sara na napunta yung public funds or yung confidential funds niya sa tamang pamamaraan. Which is so far, during the hearing yesterday, hindi pa natin nakikita yun. Ang nakikita natin, of course, yung punto ng prosecution na hindi properly liquidated yung mga resibo at actually wala nga talagang mga official receipts. So, antabayanan din natin kung ano yung magiging sagot ng defense sa pag nag-cross-examine sila. Because sinabi ni Attorney Michael Powa, di ba, they usually don't really grant interviews kasi inaano nila yung kanilang that's their strategy, no? Pero sabi niya, antabayanan natin yung magiging cross-examination nila dun sa mga witnesses or iba pang mga possible witnesses to prove na nagsasabi daw ng totoo, of course, yung kliyente nila. Yan.
Pero sabi din ni Attorney Michael, they have an explanation for how the 612.5 million pesos was spent, even including the one that was spent in 11 days. So, ano ba yung explanation na yun, di ba?
They didn't stipulate to those documents.
And kudos to Attorney Lorna Kapunan for making this impeachment trial entertaining. At least hindi tayo na-bore kahapon, di ba?
So I can sit down.
She's our spirit animal. Okay, but in other news, the National Bureau of Investigation has issued subpoenas to Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste and former Congressman Jing Paras over their alleged involvement in a supposed plot to frame Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. In an interview on The Big Story, NBI Director Melvin Matibag stressed that Leviste and Paras are presumed innocent and were summoned to respond to the allegations. He urged both men to personally appear before the NBI instead of addressing the issue solely through social media. Matibag said the agency is examining testimonial documentary and digital evidence, emphasizing that investigators will rely on the evidence and strictly follow due process throughout the investigation. Both Leviste and Paras have denied the allegations, and Paras questioned the authenticity of screenshots recovered from a talent manager's phone, while Leviste dismissed the case as a Recto production and claimed Matibag was merely following orders.
Malinaw naman po yung statement ko. Sinasabi ko nga, hindi naman immediately naniniwala ang NBI na sila'y akusado, sila'y may kasalanan. Kaya nga po natin sila'y pinapatawag para sila po magbigay linaw dahil pinangalanan po sila. The only way na makapagbigay linaw ka is sumarap ka doon sa proseso. Sabi nila magsasalita sa tamang panahon, sa tamang proseso. Ito na po yung pagkakataon na magsalita at tumarap po sa proseso.
Okay, so Congressman Leviste and former Congressman Jing Paras are expected to appear before the NBI on Thursday, August 6. But interestingly, Congressman Leviste also posted something on social media, a screenshot of Director Matibag's message to him a year ago, congratulating him for winning a term as a congressman of Batangas. Sinabi pa ni Cong Leviste that NBI Director Matibag is actually a family friend and one of his mentors when he was about to enter the world of politics. Pero ang sagot dyan ni Director Matibag is no one is above the law. So, kahit friends pa sila, family friends, well, he will pursue an investigation kung may ebidensya naman talaga.
Walang kamag-anak.
Binabalikan na naman yung
Binabalikan eh, no? Oo. Pero yun nga na sinasabi nila, these are all hearsay pa at this
Yes.
stage until magkaroon nga ng
Yes.
investigation, makita nila yung mga evidence because supposedly there are text messages and then there are CCTV cameras that would point out the meetup nga daw between the talent manager and former Congressman Jing Paras and we'll see kung saan naabutin yung
Yes.
kanilang evidence.
But that's also why they were called in, di ba? Kaya nga kailangan may investigation. Because they always also emphasize that, you know, innocent until proven guilty. But that's why the investigation is needed. So, with screenshots, with affidavits, kailangan aralin, kailangan mag-interview, tanungin kung ano yung side nito. And medyo, you know, you see these things in the movies lang kasi.
Yun nga eh.
So,
Pinag-usapan din namin kahapon nila sa Rodel, yung honey trap.
honey trap. My goodness. All right, don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Day 12 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial gets underway today with the confidential fund paper trail still under the microscope. And mobile journalist Merimon Reyes will give us more details. Merimon, what can we expect today?
Pauline, for day 12 of the impeachment trial, the prosecution will continue with its direct examination of State Auditor Roderick Wamil. Kahapon kasi pinresent na siya pero hindi pa natatapos. And around 2:30 in the afternoon, nag-wind up si Counsel of the Prosecutors Attorney Lorna Capunan. Kaya we're anticipating magpapatuloy ngayon ang prosec. And then later on, ang ina-anticipate din natin yung cross-examination naman on the part of the defense and possibly a redirect or re-cross-examination later on. After naman nun, usually nagkakaroon na ng manifestation or time naman ang senator judges to throw questions dito kay Wamil.
Okay, Merimon, kahapon, onti lang yung naging objection ng defense, ano? But today, may nakaschedule na rin ba silang mag-cross-examine dito kay Attorney Wamil?
That would depend kasi kung matatapos agad yung direct examination ng prosecution dito kay Auditor Wamil, pwedeng mag-cross-exam na ang defense. Pero it's also possible kung kunwari tulad last time, wala silang makita pa na anything na questionable. Baka 1 or 2 questions lang yung ibabato nila unless mayroon silang magiging strategy tungkol dyan. So, ang working time pa rin naman kasi ng impeachment trial is 10 a.m. to supposedly 3 p.m. Pero kahapon kasi nakita natin 2:30 natapos na muna yung impeachment trial. Kaya wala rin talagang time during kahapon na makapag-cross-exam ang defense. So it will really depend sa time and motion ng prosecution. Pauline.
Merriman, kung tatanungin ng prosecution, ano ba yung na-establish na nila base sa testimony ni Attorney Wamil kahapon?
Pauline, nilay down na muna nila itong paggamit. Kasi last week, ang pinaka-tinutukan nila is yung flow ng pera from the National Treasury papunta dito sa cash withdrawal, saka doon sa SDOs o yung Special Disbursement Officers ng OVP pati ng DepEd. Ngayon, hinihimay-himay na nila isa-isa kung saan napupunta supposedly. And yun yung lumalabas sa nakita muna na pag-audit ni Auditor Wamil na nag-purchase ang OVP, nasa OVP pa lang tayo, ng tables, chairs, printers, desktops, computers, medicines in 2022, pero they could not show enough proof na nagamit ito at kung nabayaran ba yung informants supposedly for the confidential activities of the OVP. Doon din na isa-isa na, though hindi pa ito lahat, yung mga acknowledgement receipt supposedly nang nakatanggap. Kabilang na dyan sila Mary Grace Piatos, itong si Andy Lim, si Renan Piatos, and others. Pero ang nasabi pa kasi kahapon ni Attorney Capuna, nasa 800 na mga dokumento ang i-authenticate at pwedeng ipakita kasabay ng pagpapresent nila dito kay State Auditor Wamil.
Merriman, ano ba yung impeachable offense na talagang ine-emphasize dito ng prosecution?
Pauline, ito kasi yung sa article of impeachment, yung alleged misuse ng public funds or confidential funds. Lagi pumapasok din dito yung betrayal din ng public trust and such. Pero ang titingnan din kasi natin ngayon, yung kung paano mag-unfold itong presentation nila on the part of the prosecution kasi 31 trial days ang nakalaan. And yung voluminous na documents na kanilang ipepresenta, yun yung ipapakita nila as of now. Nung unang araw nitong article of impeachment na ito, nilay muna nila yung pinaka-foundation ng pag-uusapan. Ngayon, hinihimay-himay na nila isa-isa kung paano ito supposedly nagasta at kung may malingan doon sa nagasta. On the part of the defense naman, may isa kasing stipulation na hindi sila pumayag. Ito yung stipulate na nakatanggap ang OVP ng confidential funds at nagastos ito in just 11 days. Hindi dito nagbigay ng stipulations ang defense, pero ang sinasabi nila, hindi nila sinasabi na kapag hindi sila nag-stipulate doon, ay forged yung acknowledgement receipts na pinapakitang nagastos in just 11 days itong pera. Ang sinasabi lang nila, hindi nila ito alam. And they're also making sure na wala raw malalabag sa karapatan and yung due process din ng kanilang client, which is Vice President Sara Duterte. Pauline.
All right, thank you very much for those updates. I was mobile journalist Mary Mon Reyes. Now, House Private Prosecutor Attorney Amando Vergil Ligutan said the prosecution remains comfortable with how proceedings are unfolding inside the Senate impeachment court, stressing that the panel entered the trial well prepared for different scenarios. In an interview with One News's Political Beat, Ligutan also did not rule out the possibility of presenting the Office of the Vice President's Chief of Staff, Zuleika Lopez, as a witness later on in the impeachment proceedings. He likewise dismissed speculation fueled by discussions on social media, emphasizing that the prosecution will not compromise its evidence or legal strategy and remains focused on presenting its case before the impeachment court. Ligutan also reflected on his journey into the legal profession, sharing that the impeachment trial of former President Joseph Estrada inspired him to become a lawyer.
Kami naman sa prosecution, ginagawa namin lahat na kung po pwede walang surprises, di ba? So, luckily, fortunately, walang mga tinatawag natin na mga curveballs. Parang minimal. So, the prosecution, we expect things, and then usually yung ini-expect namin, yun yung nangyayari, Lord, inside the impeachment court. Yeah. Kino-consider yung social media aspect, pero hindi yun yung nagko-control in how do we proceed with the impeachment trial.
And now in the weather, 2 low-pressure areas are bringing rains over parts of Luzon. The first, formerly Tropical Depression Luis, was last located near Bagao, Cagayan. The second was spotted over the coastal waters of Balawan, La Union. The weather systems are bringing scattered rains and thunderstorms over the Ilocos region, Cordillera, Cagayan Valley, and Central Luzon. Meanwhile, Typhoon Dolphin remains far outside the Philippine area. The southwest monsoon is also affecting Metro Manila, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and parts of western Visayas. Now, the Philippines is once again taking center stage in badminton as it hosts the inaugural Philippine Junior International Series, bringing together some of the world's top young shuttlers while giving local talents a chance to compete on home soil. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho has this report.
The Philippine Junior International Series gets underway this week at Gameville Central Park in Mandaluyong City, with around 30 countries expected to take part in the 6-day competition. Coming right after the successful staging of the Philippine International Challenge, the tournament marks another major step in the country's efforts to grow badminton at the grassroots level. For organizers, hosting the inaugural edition is about more than medals. It's about showing the world what Filipino badminton has to offer.
I'd like to say that this is one for the books. We wanted to showcase two things. The first one is that Filipino badminton, be it at the senior or at the junior level, is world class. The second thing is we wanted to showcase what world-class badminton looks like. And hopefully by doing so, more and more young people, more and more young Filipinos get enticed, inspired, and motivated to reach that level.
The event also gives young athletes from across the country a rare opportunity to compete against elite international opponents without having to travel abroad. The Philippines will be represented by members of PBAD Smash Pilipinas, including 2026 Palarong Pambansa gold medalist Cristel Fuentespina and Roaquin Ramos. For the national team coaches, the tournament will help determine how the country's development program stacks up against some of the world's strongest junior squads.
Of course, I want to see them battle it out with the best junior teams of the other countries. Yun naman ang gusto natin makita eh. Gusto rin natin na parang full support. Lahat ng mga families and syempre, iba din ang full support tayo. Gusto natin ibigay sa kanila yung support at tignan kung hanggang gano'ng kalayo kayang dalhin ng ating training at kung saan pa tayo pwede mag-improve.
Qualifying matches begin Tuesday, with the main draw starting Wednesday and the finals set for Sunday. As the Philippines welcomes the world's best young shuttlers, local players will look to turn home court advantage into a breakthrough performance. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho, we are One News.
Don't go away because Money Talks with Kathy Yang is up next to get you ahead of the markets. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Stay tuned to One News.
Welcome to Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, the Finance Department is proposing a package of new and higher taxes on different products including sweetened beverages, e-cigarettes, and luxury vehicles. Fuel prices get cheaper today. Gasoline goes down by 73 centavos per liter and diesel by 60 centavos. And the Department of Health moves to expand patient-first care so more indigent patients in government hospitals receive treatment without paying out of pocket. Newly appointed Department of Health Secretary Dr. Jose Pujalte Jr. joins us live. The Finance Department is proposing a new and higher package of taxes to help fund the government's proposed personal income tax relief. Finance Undersecretary Carlo Adriano says these measures form part of the proposed Promoting Growth, Revenue, and Equity Towards Socioeconomic Sustainability bill. The tax measures are expected to generate nearly 130 billion pesos a year from 2027 to 2030. Adriano said that's more than enough to cover the estimated 82 billion peso annual revenue loss from the tax relief package. The proposal would raise the tax on sweetened beverages to as much as 20 pesos per liter, unify excise taxes on e-cigarettes, and impose a 150 peso per kilogram levy on selected plastic products, including sandbags, labo bags, and sachets. It also proposes higher taxes on luxury vehicles priced above 8 million pesos, private aircraft, as well as updated motor vehicle users' charges that have not been revised in more than 2 decades. The agency said the package would help fund the tax relief measures proposed by President Marcos in his 5th State of the Nation address. Fuel prices go slightly down today, giving motorists a reprieve after 4 straight weeks of hikes. The Department of Energy has ordered a minimum rollback of 60 centavos per liter for diesel, 73 centavos for gasoline, and 2 pesos and 9 centavos for kerosene. But transport groups that rallied in front of the LTFRB are not satisfied with the rollback. They say drivers have become so burdened by the huge spike in pump prices. The protests come as the LTFRB begins hearing petitions on fare hikes. Piston is asking for a 10 peso increase, while Manibela wants a 2 peso hike.
Inilatag naman natin yung dahilan na kung bakit 10 pesos yung ating hinihingi dahil nga doon sa ubod na ng laki nung nawalang kita ng ating mga driver na dulot ng mataas na presyo at yung masyadong mahal na presyo na rin ng mga pyesa ng ating mga jeepney.
The LTFRB will ask the Transportation Department for an interim fare hike while the hearings continue. The agency will also recommend to Malacanang the raising of fuel subsidies to 20 pesos per liter from the current 10 pesos. Meantime, the DOE has set the maximum increase this month in LPG prices at 3 pesos and 67 centavos per kilogram. That translates to about a 40 peso hike in the standard 11 kilogram cylinder. LPG vendors like Regasco and Petron Gasul have already raised prices. Overseas, Iran confirms it is under negotiations with Oman over the management of the Strait of Hormuz, but it denies any planned talks between Tehran and Washington, contrary to what President Trump has been saying. As of 8:30 a.m. Philippine time, Brent crude is trading at $84 a barrel, up 0.33%. West Texas Intermediate sitting at $81 a barrel, up 0.33%. The Employers Confederation of the Philippines says it respects the National Capital Region Wage Board's decision to approve an 85 peso daily minimum wage hike, even as it warned other regional boards against automatically following the NCR's lead. The group said its representatives formally dissented from the wage order, consistent with its mandate to represent employers, especially micro, small, and medium enterprises. Still, ECOP said it continues to support the wage board system, calling it the most systematic and evidence-based way to set wages across a diverse economy. It added the wage hike decision followed the proper tripartite process, including consultations, public hearings, and board deliberations. But it warned that other regional wage boards should base their decisions on local economic condition, productivity, and employers' capacity to pay rather than feeling pressured to match Metro Manila. And checking in on the markets overseas, U.S. stock futures a mixed bag in overnight trading. The Dow is up 0.2%. S&P 500 advanced less than 0.1%. And the Nasdaq is trading near the flat line. Asian markets are also a mixed bag this Tuesday. Japan's Nikkei 225 falls 0.75%. South Korea's Kospi slides about 0.5%. And Australia's ASX 200 gains about 0.5%. U.S. equities rose after Washington pivoted back to diplomacy in resolving the Middle East conflict. The Dow rallied 700 points, or 1.3% this Monday, its first new high since July 6th. The Nasdaq gained 2.1%, and the S&P climbed 1.5%. Philippine markets opened August in positive territory. The benchmark PSEI added 98 points, or 1.6% to close at 6,334. Luis Limlingan of Regina Capital says investors welcome the third straight month of growth in the country's manufacturing PMI. Investors are also optimistic of steady July inflation. The broader all-shares index rose 1%, with the sectoral gauges all gaining ground except for property. PSE President Ramon Monzon has a new moniker for Ang-led San Miguel Corp, stock market champion. This comes after the conglomerate raised the most capital from follow-on offerings, or FOOs, in the market since 2020. San Miguel has raised 146.65 billion pesos from the issuance of 11 preferred share subseries spanning 5 FOOs. Yesterday, SMC officially listed its Series 2V, 2W, and 2X preferred shares on the PSC. And the 10-year government bond yields have ticked down to 7.386%. ABS-CBN shares have rallied sharply on takeover speculation and then settled into a tighter range. With us now for more is Chief Investment Strategist Ron Acoba of Trading Edge. Good to see you again, Ron. Welcome back to the program.
Hi, good morning, Kathy. Thank you for having me.
All right, so how would you characterize that level at which ABS shares are now trading? They've stabled up around 350 to 370 per share.
Well, as you've mentioned, for quite some time, the ABS-CBN shares have been, languishing to a new low of around a little over 1 peso before surging all the way to a high of 4 on rumors that a white knight is set to take over the company. Since then, though, the stock has stabilized around the 3.5 to 3.7 area. So, at least from a technical point of view, its ability to, stabilize and flatline around this particular area suggests that there aren't many profit-taking that is occurring. In fact, on the opposite, this actually indicates a period of accumulation, which actually led to yesterday's jump of around 5 to 6% on news that on reports that there is an upcoming 3.5 rescue package for the company. Nonetheless, even with the spike, the stock remains to be trading within a tight band below its 4 peso resistance. The 4 peso level is actually the level that it needs to surpass before it can, move freely towards its 2026
There has been
high.
a denial of the reports, Ron, linking Market Talk to Ramon Ang, Chair MVP. ABS-CBN has said there are no discussions to turn over management to their group. So does that corporate denial change your interpretation of the current rally?
Yeah, well, you know what, Kathy? Even if there's no denial, the 3.5 billion rescue package, for me, objectively, it's kind of underwhelming. You know why? Because ABS-CBN has its total assets is roughly 34 billion as of the end of 2025. It has total liabilities of around 33 billion as of the end of 2025, and 22 billion of which is current, meaning due for the present year, or you can even extend it up to next year. So with a 22 billion peso short-term debt that is coming due, you know, 3.5 for me is actually just a bridge that would allow the company to extend its operational runway. What's even worse for me is that at least in the first quarter, ABS-CBN saw a loss of about 800 million. So you have 22 billion in current debt, losing 800 million a quarter. So at 3.5 billion, even if it is actually there, it's not going to do too much for
All right,
the
so
company.
given that, you consider it underwhelming at 3.5 billion, if there is no confirmed takeover process, what do you think could explain the sustained bid in the stock run?
It's actually a bigger cash infusion or a takeover at the top. Not necessarily on the ABS level, but perhaps in the parent company level, which would allow them to receive more infusions again from the parent, if that ever happens.
Just as a final question, there's also some action on Lopez Holdings. As you can see, the stock, there's been a bit of a bump up as well because a good portion of that, about 50%, they own ABS shares. So what's happened on this stock and what does it show on the next price action?
Well, looking at the chart that you have in front of you, the initial spike from around 4 pesos to a jump to 6 was actually driven by, again, rumors that the Gabby Lopez faction is selling their 70% in the parent Lopez Inc. That's actually what led to it. But of course, nothing is confirmed, so the stock just consolidated in and around present level. And its recent spike was, on the ABS-CBN side that the 3.5 billion is on deck for them. Of course, having a 55% stake in ABS and assuming that ABS is able to turn around its operations, it will also reflect positively on the company. But like I said, the 3.5 billion for me, even if it is there, is underwhelming.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the insights there. We'll be watching the price action in both stocks. Ron Acoba of Trading Edge. Malacanang on Monday backed a possible investigation into allegations against Health Secretary Jose Pujalte Jr. following the filing of a complaint accusing him of involvement in gambling. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the government supports an inquiry into the claims raised by the group Concerned Citizens, adding that any issues involving a public official must undergo proper investigation. She added no order has been issued to suspend Pujalte while an investigation is being considered. The palace also said the president continues to rely on evidence before taking action, noting that there is still no concrete proof against the health secretary. On July 13, President Marcos appointed Pujalte as DOH secretary following the resignation of Ted Herbosa. With us now for more, newly appointed Department of Health Secretary Jose Briggs Pujalte Jr. It's good seeing you, Dr. Briggs, and congratulations on your appointment.
Good morning, Kathy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, how are you? I mean, you stepped into this role as a custodian of public trust. Before we get to your initial priorities, Briggs, let's just address what's come before us on integrity issues. A formal complaint says you frequented casinos like Okada and Soler, assuming names, allegations that you've denied. Can you clearly explain your account of what happened and why you were at a casino hotel?
Okay, thank you for having me. This complaint didn't come at a better time because on July 20, barely a week after I was appointed, I was invited by some provincial officials to a hotel casino for lunch. They were there to ask help for their infrastructure, their buildings, their hospitals that are overcrowded. Now, being a newbie, I didn't understand what a courtesy call was. So they asked for my help. They asked for a lunch meeting, and I went. Now, I didn't realize that eating in a hotel casino is the same thing as gambling. So I was, in effect, on official business. I said this doesn't come at a better time because I'm barely 3 weeks into my leadership of the Department of Health, and I cannot show any substantial results yet. And therefore, this is a smear campaign since they have now no basis for attacking me except for ad hominem, the fallacy of attacking the person. They cannot attack me for incompetence, laziness, misplaced priorities. They can only attack my person. So it comes early this time in my leadership, and it's quite clear that this is just a demolition job.
Now, the complainants
That
are
is my
seeking
official
your
statement.
yes, preventive suspension and dismissal, and the palace says an investigation is being considered. How are you responding?
I welcome the investigation, and I also trust that the president will give me enough time to show my performance and to show results, and that his trust will lead to better results in the Department of Health.
All right, let's get to your immediate priorities then. You focused in on patient first. How do you define that in operational terms, though? In a government hospital, Sec Bricks, whether it be in the emergency room, the ward, the pharmacy, the billing counters?
Patient first means pasyente muna. It means that for all DOH employees, before they think of their bonuses, of their day offs, and their rights, think of the patient first. Now, I'm saying this because the patient, the Filipino patient, must feel the love and the care of the government. This is not possible if you will concentrate on policies only and programs. The Filipino patient can only expect and feel the way that you treat them, the results of your treatment. They don't care if you have various strategies. They only care about getting well, uh, being treated, and having medicine and having operations for free. That's why, together with Patient First, is zero balance billing, championed by our president. The patient can go to a government hospital and expect that there will be no out of pocket expense.
Can you qualify that, Sec Bricks? Because yes, the president mentioned that there's already 3 million benefiting from zero balance billing, but many patients still report out-of-pocket payments. So clearly, there are top implementation gaps that you have to deal with. So what concrete measures are you going to be putting in place so that zero balance billing is consistently felt at the bedside?
This is a work in progress. We still need to reach out to local government units, their hospitals, their provincial and district hospitals. Because as far as the Filipino patient is concerned, when they go to a government hospital, they do not distinguish between a DOH hospital or an LGU hospital. Therefore, we are also implementing a wider coverage of the MAIFIP or the medical assistance for indigent and financially incapacitated patients. In the months ahead, I intend to go around the Philippines, meet governors, and help them in their coverage of zero balance patients, zero balance billing patients. So again, action is needed, but I'm here to do the work.
Exactly to your point on MAIFIP, because there is this confusion about where PhilHealth ends and the medical assistance program begins. So how will you define and communicate the distinct roles of MAIFIP vis-a-vis PhilHealth so that the two programs are clearly going to complement rather than duplicate each other?
we are aligned with PhilHealth. We are aligned with the programs of Dr. Edwin Mercado. And this would be their programs on YAKA, which is the outpatient care, and Gamot, which is the annual 20,000 peso allowance for essential medicines, now reaching 75 essential drugs. So they are complementary services. In the YAKA program, we are including more screening tests, not only cancer screening, but also tests for liver, kidney, and thyroid for this year. I keep saying it's a work in progress because it appears to be working, and all we need to do is to make sure that the efforts are sustained. So please give us time. We, together with PhilHealth, are now aligned, and we are applying these programs together.
The guarantee letters, they have been criticized as symbols of inequality and political patronage. Under your patient first framework, what is the health department's official position on the continued use of guarantee letters in public hospitals?
The official word, especially from our president in the last SONA, is that GLs or guarantee letters are a thing of the past, because the MyFIP is being strengthened. It's being programmed in such a way that more people will be able to use it, and that the out-of-pocket from a high of 45% will be slowly whittled down into the 30s and the mid-30s. So low 30s and the mid-30s. It's a long way off of the WHO recommendation of 20% and below of out-of-pocket expenses, but we are getting there. The important thing is that the efforts are sincere, the efforts are sustained, and that the leadership is focused on bringing change in health delivery.
And that change is so much needed because when you hear anecdotes pointing to facilities like the Philippine Heart Center, they're still facing layers of bureaucracy, the need for presenting certificates of indigency, the eligibility forms, justification letters just before receiving assistance. So what in the immediate, Sec Bricks, are you going to do to ensure that this does not happen in any hospital?
Well, MyIPIF is now available online. It's called MyIPIF at eGov.ph. There are only two requirements: the clinical abstract and a valid government ID. Therefore, we are making efforts to whittle down the bureaucratic tape, red tape, and make sure that accessibility is much easier.
Got that. We're looking forward to the progress in your immediate deliverables. Secretary Bricks, thank you so much for joining us. Secretary Bricks Pojalte of the Department of Health. You're watching Money Talks. Coming up, day 12 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment today. We get an update from the ground. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang. Let's take a quick check on the Philippine peso and see how it's opened this Tuesday. It is a tad weaker, 60.95 to the dollar. The peso returned to the 60 per dollar level, closing yesterday at 60.93 against the greenback. It is the local unit's best finish since June 19. The peso strengthened after Japan and the U.S. intervened to prop up the yen and amid easing tensions in the Middle East. The prosecution scrutinized how Vice President Sara Duterte spent her confidential funds, with the former state auditor taking the witness stand. Let's get an update on what happened yesterday and what to expect today from our mobile journalist, Merimon Reyes. What more can you tell us, Merimon?
Kathy, for this day, Roderick Wamel, former COA Intelligence and Confidential Funds Office State Auditor, is expected to return to the witness stand once the impeachment court resumes the trial at 10 o'clock a.m. The defense team of Duterte is also set to conduct a cross-examination of the prosecution witness. And according to State Auditor Wamil, while the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education has submitted its accomplishment report regarding its use of confidential funds, totaling to around 612.5 million pesos, there are not enough proof to show that actual informants were paid. So the prosecution began first with some of the disbursements by the OVP, and they also found that there were 40 million pesos allotted for medical, food aid outside the allowable list, which are supposedly legitimate expenses for confidential funds, and these are not included. Part of their findings also show that 25.6 million pesos were liquidated with receipts, but however, they were dated a year late. So this is why the Auditor Wamel issued a notice of suspension over the fourth quarter of 2022 in terms of the confidential funds of the OVP, and they flagged the OVP for disbursements that appeared illegal, irregular, or improper. However, the direct examination of the prosecution is not yet done. That's why once Wamil takes the witness stand, the direct examination will continue, and later on followed by the cross-examination on the part of the defense. Aside from Auditor Wamil, the Senate Impeachment Court also earlier issued subpoenas to COA ICFAO State Auditor Celine Medel Campos, which is also scheduled supposedly and hopefully expected to be called as a witness this day, followed by tomorrow, House of Representatives Legislative Information Resources Management Department Director Marivic Pareja. And that is the latest from the impeachment court. Back to you, Kathy.
Okay, we'll be monitoring later today. Thank you so much for the update, our mobile journalist, Merimon Reyes. And before we go, Alex Ayala has captured the biggest title of her career after stunning world number 3 Jessica Pegula in the Mubadala DC Open Final. The Filipino star fought back from a set down to win 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. Ayala claimed her first WTA Tour level, WTA 500 crown, after a giant-slaying run that also saw her defeat some of the world's top players. The historic win lifted Ayala 8 spots to a career-high world number 20. She now heads to the Canadian Open in Toronto, where she is seeded 25th and has a first-round bye. Congratulations and all the best in the next, Alex. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Kathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Have a great day ahead.
Good morning mga kapatid. Welcome back to Morning Matters.
On day 11 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial, former COA Auditor Roderick Wamil testified on the OVP's 125 billion peso confidential fund spending. Wamil flagged deficiencies in the office's financial plan, accomplishment report, and liquidation documents. He said about 40 million pesos was used for medical and food assistance, while payments to informants lacked proof of successful intelligence operations. The prosecution also presented receipts bearing the names Mary Grace Piatos and Renan Piatos. Wamil, however, said his audit did not verify whether the name recipients actually existed.
Now, what could the COA testimony mean for the case against Vice President Sara Duterte, and where does the trial go from here? Well, joining us this morning is lawyer and law dean, Attorney J.V. Bautista. Attorney, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much for having
morning.
me. Good morning.
Yes.
Pauline, Pauline, and Cheska, and Angela.
Yes.
And to all your viewers.
Of course.
Good morning.
Well, we have a lot to unpack this morning after
Yes.
yesterday's trial hearing. But Attorney, first of all, what stood out to you in the testimony of Attorney Roderick Wamil?
Well, what stood out was the misuse of confidential funds. It was becoming very clear. Although I was really hoping for a little more drama sana, no? Kasi accounting things are quite complicated, especially to laymen and even to lawyers. I mean, we don't exactly understand everything that's been taken up there, no? Of course, we know what a COA circular is and how it is applied and how it needs to be complied with and obeyed, no? However, these are numbers, and usually lawyers are not very good at numbers. I would have preferred somebody. I don't know. I cannot pick from the house managers right now. Perhaps, maybe yes, Lorna Capunan would have been the best one they can get to put in there because she's a seasoned litigator. But you see, I've always maintained that in this impeachment trial, it is not really courtroom demeanor and litigation that will carry the day.
It's true.
It is really being able to communicate to the public effectively what is happening inside the impeachment court. No, I do not want to consider the space inside the Senate as a courtroom. I don't like the idea. So I don't like lawyers tangling with each other. Fortunately, yesterday, the defense counsel was not that active in objecting.
Yeah.
They were not really very, among us lawyers, it is natural for us to object.
What did you make of that, Attorney?
I am not sure what is their strategy, but I'm not convinced that Vice President Sara is being well represented by lawyers. I mean, take a look at the past, no? President Erap Estrada was represented by a former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Andres Narvasa, and also one of the top litigators of the land, Estelito Mendoza. And then you have the case of Chief Justice Corona, who was represented by a retired Supreme Court Justice himself.
There's a Nervasa in her team.
Narvasa is in the team, but he's not saying anything. I was hoping that it would be somebody like Fortun, Siegfried Fortun, or Gregorio Narvasa, the son of the late Chief Justice, who would be there at the forefront. With all due respect to Attorney Powa, I have never really known him or encountered him in the litigation circles. You know, as litigators, we know each other. And we hear of reputations of each other. You know that Lorna Capunan is a celebrity lawyer because she represents many celebrities. And we were able to tangle with each other when the names of the children of Dennis Padilla were concerned. No, they were changing the names. And Dennis Padilla came to me for legal assistance. And I tangled with Lorna Capunan. She's a good lawyer, good litigator. She knows the law. Unfortunately, I don't think Attorney Powa is on that level. I've never known him. The first time I saw him was when he was Chief of Staff of the Vice President. You know, being Chief of Staff does not really require being a good or brilliant lawyer or a good litigator. his courtroom presence is not really that inspiring, perhaps he can conduct press conferences very efficiently. But when it comes to the courtroom presence, you know, you have to have the demeanor, you have to have the presence, you have to have the command. He was, pardon me, but he was objecting to answers.
Yeah.
You do not object to answers. A lawyer objects to questions. When a question is already answered, you can no longer object because the answer is there.
So, do you feel that Attorney Poa has been too lenient when it comes to the prosecution? Because yesterday he objected to the answer, of yung ang confidential ay pagagamitan at hindi ang pinagbilhan. And then the other objection also was when Attorney Lorna Capunan was reading the names, like Andilim. He said that she was coloring the proceeding.
I think Attorney Poe was getting to be very diplomatic. Whenever he speaks, ang unang sabi niya, with all due respect to the adverse counsel, to the opposing counsel, with all due respect. Laging ganun. Ano? To me, I do not use that. When you litigate, you completely demolish and destroy the other party. That's how you do it.
So you want the defense to be more aggressive, Attorney?
You have to be aggressive.
Because what if their strategy is that they want to be more calm? Because right now, they're already being seen as the antagonists in this trial.
That's correct. And I think that's where the prosecution is ahead of them in a way. Because from the point of view of PR or social media even, but this is not being helped by the pro-VP lawyers, no, like the Cayetano siblings or Robin Padilla, because they are now being cast as antagonists. Yung sila ang kontrabida dito And the successive objections, one after the other, of Binluan and the third generation Narvasa, was also turning off a lot of people watching the impeachment. Kasi nakaka-turn off naman talaga yung sobrang daming objection. But when you make good objections, and you are able to stop the questioning because the answers or the question itself would elicit inadmissible evidence, then you will score a good point. No? Makikita ng tao, magaling itong lawyer. As I said, no, just to repeat, a lawyer does not object to an answer.
Pero
you only
attorney,
object to a question.
I want to ask you doon sa naging hearing yesterday. So having said that, do you think that the prosecution has the upper hand right now in terms of presenting evidences? And do you think that at the point yesterday, the prosecution has already established that there is really a misuse of the confidential fund? And can you point out which one? Kung saan doon na pinakita talaga na there's misuse?
Well, the COA state auditor, who happens also to be a lawyer, kasi he referred to a COA circular
joint 2015.
2015-01, and he was stating categorically, sabi niya, hindi compliant yung mga purchases, yung mga reimbursements, hindi compliant yan sa circular. So doon pa lang makikita mo malaking problema nitong confidential funds. Kaya lang, the prosecution should have been able to project more than that, more than the technical aspect. Number one, bakit sa dinami-dami ng mga vice president, si Sara Duterte lang ang humingi at binigyan ng confidential fund? Binay did not have confidential funds. I was with Binay for 6 years. I was one of his political consultants and I was a spokesperson for Binay for 6 years. He did not get any confidential funds.
And he did not request either.
He didn't ask. Kasi Lenny Robredo, the same, di ba? Ano ba naman ang trabaho ng Vice President?
Spare time.
Maghihintay ka lang. Spare time, Maghihintay ka lang something happens to the President. Di ba? What does... Well, theoretically, she's in the executive department. But she doesn't do anything as Vice President.
Ba't kasi binigyan? The budget, the Congress, diba, approved the budget.
Palagay ko, kasi remember, she was still in good terms with BBM at that time. And probably BBM said, sige, may pondo dito, kunin mo. Gawin natin confidential funds.
Kasi dahil ba hindi siya pinagbigyan to be the DND secretary?
Kasi hindi niya nakuha. But here's the thing, So sinabi ni State Auditor Wamil This is the first time na nag-audit siya ng Vice President because it's not been done before. Hindi ginagawa nung past Vice President yan, ni Binay or ni Robredo. Ito pa lang. Now, how much was the confidential fund of the Vice President? 500 million. Kalahating bilyon agad. Pagkatapos, hindi pa nagkasya doon, humingi pa ng confidential fund for the DepEd in the tune of 112.5 million. Ano? So, 612.5 total yan eh. Eh sabi rin ni Wamil, he has never encountered confidential funds for the DepEd. Remember that the DepEd has the largest budget of all departments by virtue of constitutional mandate.
Yes.
Sabi ng Constitution eh, the Department of Education will always have the biggest budget. Bakit hingi ka pa ng confidential fund? Tapos ang ginagamit yung confidential fund? Chairs, tables, hindi naman po pwede yun eh.
Safe house.
Hindi po pwede yun, safe house. Kasi, sabi ng COA, pag humingi ka ng confidential fund, kailangan mag-submit ka ng physical and financial plan.
PFP.
You have to be careful with public funds eh. You cannot just do away with it. Regular disbursement of public funds, kailangan meron kang procurement eh. Mahigpit yan. No? Every purchase and every contract, supplies, etc. should go through bidding processes, no? With a few exceptions, pagka mga emergency. Pero kailangan niya mag-bidding, dadaan yan sa procurement proceedings, no? Procedure. Eh dito sa confidential fund, walang ganon. Walang ganon. Kaya, the circular must be very, very strict about the use of confidential fund. Kasi kaya-kaya gamitin eh. But you know what what is going on in my mind? Itong si Sara Duterte, kasi, remember, mayor yan sa Davao eh. Di ba? And she was mayor when her father was president. And a mayor can ask for confidential funds. Hindi ganyan kalaking 600 million, ano? Millions din. And I think that as mayor of Davao, siyempre, siga sila ron, Duterte sila, they just take the confidential funds. No questions asked. Wala nang audit yan. Kinukuha na lang yan. In the crudest way I can put it, binubulsa. No? They were pocketing the money. Ngayon, itong si Vice President Sara Duterte, apparently to me, nasanay sa Davao eh. 6 years, kuha lang ng pera, confidential fund. Nobody asks. Di ba? O ngayon, naging Vice President. It happens. Kakampi niya yung Presidente.
Okay lang.
And then she learned, meron pala ditong ganitong kalaki. O sige, kunin mo na. Okay lang. So, kinuha niya. Ang problema, she did not spend it properly naman. Kasi, siguro yung ugali niya sa Davao na kinukuha lang niya yung pera and pocketing it, I think it permeated up to the office of the Vice President and the DepEd. That is what happened. Ano? Kasi nobody could account for the funds eh. Saan pumunta yung 612.5 million na yan? Nobody knows. No, di ba? Yung COA, ang daming flinag. Sinabi lang, hindi pwede yan for desk. Hindi pwede yan for chairs. Bawal yan eh. Hindi pwede yan for reimbursement. Bawal yun eh. No? Bawal yan under the circle. Kaya, ang kaya lang sabihin siyempre ng COA, it's non-compliant. No, these are technical terms. That was why I was stating in the beginning, I wished that the prosecution could have been more graphic and a bit, dramatic lang na konti, to be able to project that hundreds of millions of money, people's money, are being taken and pocketed by this official who is now under impeachment. Yun ang kailangan na ipresenta eh. That is what, sa bagay, in fairness to them, hindi pa naman tapos.
Yes.
No?
Bilang isang lawyer po ba? Kasi
Yes.
meron ako that caught my attention eh. Sabi po nila, there's an important provision in the COA DBM Joint Circular 2015. And it says yung 8.1 doon, when a public official or an accountable official fails to liquidate for public funds, meron presumption of guilt.
Yes.
So kailangan po ba, sino ang kailangan magpatunay? Ang prosecution na kailangan po ba nilang patunayan na may ibang pinuntahan yung pera or okay na lang na mapakita sa tao na may misuse talaga? Or the defense na kailangan nilang patunayan na meron talaga mga mere grace piatos under a actual person?
The position kasi of the defense has always been, kasi ang approach nila rito parang criminal prosecution. Ang sabi nila, kasi pag criminal case yan,
All elements.
Merong presumption of innocence, di ba? So, you don't even need to present evidence if the prosecution cannot present sufficient evidence to convict. Ganyan ang principle ng criminal law.
Yeah.
Of course, this is not criminal law. This is not a criminal trial. This is a sui generis trial of impeachment, a class of its own. Ang kailangan lang dito, clear and convincing evidence. As to your question, of course, the onus, yung responsibility niyan lies with the prosecution. They need to prove. Kasi sila nag-allege Sila nagsabi na may misuse Di ba? I think the word misuse here is a little bit, tame benign. It's not misuse to me,
What should it be, Attorney?
It's pocketing. It's plunder. This is plunder, plain and simple. To me, And I think the prosecution should be able to develop a case na hindi lang ito misuse, misappropriation, ganyan. Hindi lang ganyan yan. This is stealing public money, public coffers. Sabay, tama naman yung nila. Culpable violation of the Constitution. Yan ang Article 1, graft and corruption and betrayal of public trust. Of course, these are broad terms na pwede mo naman i-shoot dyan yan Kasi ito, graft and corruption ito. Because it goes into the crime of plunder already. And plunder, remember, is only 50 million. This is 612.5 million. Where did that money go? Di ba?
So as early as now, Attorney, has the prosecution already established that the misuse of confidential funds and that this is an impeachable offense? Do you think they will be able to secure a conviction for this article?
Not yet at this stage, no, not yet. I think the evidence for and the proof for Article 1 is only beginning to develop.
Okay.
They're doing a good thing. Good enough yan, no? Ang first witness nila was presented last week. Remember, it was Congressman Joel Chua who presented.
Yes.
I think he did a pretty good job.
Former land bank manager.
Oo, yung land bank manager. Kaya lang yun, mga checky-checky lang naman yun. These are technical matters that even the defense naman can stipulate. When you stipulate, you both agree to a fact which you no longer need to prove in court. Kasi stipulated na Nagkasundo na kayo. And so, the court will take notice of that na ito, admitted fact na to. Hindi na kailangan i-prove. I think yesterday, may mga ganon, except that meron yatang hindi in-stipulate si Attorney Poa when it came to the matter of the 800 plus documents. Ayaw
yung
niya.
mga ARs.
Sabi naman ni Kapunan, teka muna common yan pati kayo nga. Sa inyo nang galing yan Because these are acknowledgement receipts.
Yes.
Kayong kayong nagbigay niyan sa COA as some form of liquidation documents. Kaya lang sabi nila, hindi namin sigurado kasi yung chain of custody. So pinagbibintangan nila yung COA na nasingitan yan. Kasi when you say chain of custody, sa drugs yan Sa drugs yan. Kasi mahigpit sa drugs Kailangan you go through a chain of custody. Each and every, every person who handles the drugs, kailangan recorded. Dito, ang sinasabi ni Poa, that's why I said, I'm not really impressed with this lead prosecutor, lead defense. He happens to be the lead defense. Kung ang lead defense yan, mabuti pa kung si Sigfrid Fortuna lang He was my classmate in the College of Law of UP. Kaya I have a high regard to him and of course, Attorney Narvaso.
UP Law din naman si Attorney Poe.
I'm sorry?
UP Law rin ata si Attorney Poe
Is that so?
I think, yes, Attorney.
Well, he should start acting more like a UP lawyer. I'm sorry.
So, speaking of the defense, last week, Violeta Constantino and Ninita Composano basically established that the funds were withdrawn from their respective land bank branches.
Yes.
The defense did not cross-examine, they didn't deny that the funds were withdrawn. And then yesterday, we heard Attorney Wamil basically testify to irregularities and discrepancies. So where do you see the defense going? Will they cross this time? Where should they focus on if and when they do their cross-examination?
It's a disaster for the defense not to conduct the cross-examination. They cannot do without a cross-examination. They need to conduct one. Kasi ang problema lang dito kasi yung procedure ng impeachment court I was hoping that there was talk of varying the procedure. Kasi ang gusto ngayon nung impeachment court through Chis Escudero, kaya medyo critical ako kay Chis i-present muna yung 4 na articles, di ba?
Dapat
And then
alternate.
tsaka mag-defend. Oo. So okay lang naman, ganun they did not change it. Mas maganda sana, article, magko-cross yan, ano? And then, evidence for the defense. Para mag-join na yung issues, para maintindihan na ng tao. Hindi, hihintay yung matapos lahat Kaya lang, yung going back to Cheska's question about the necessity for conducting a cross-examination, if they don't conduct a cross-examination, it's their own doom. Kasi, I think after the completion of the prosecution evidence, insofar as the confidential funds are concerned, makikita na yung full picture And if you do not question that, or you do not try to demolish the presentation of the prosecution, it's their own lookout. Ano yan? It will lead to conviction. Right now, to me, Article 4 has been proven. Wala nang question yun Kasi, ang linaw it's on television. It's public knowledge. Everybody saw it. Now, the only question is whether, in the mind of the impeachment court and of the public, of the viewing public, that would be enough to get the Vice President out of office. To me, it's more than sufficient, yung Article 4. Ito, you're now going into funds. Ang problema lang kasi dito, you're taking this up in an institution where most of the members are so used to getting commissions. Di ba? Mga corrupt din yung mga congressman tsaka yung mga senador
Ano ba sabihin mo? Walang tulak kabigi.
Oo they get kickbacks from their projects. Kaya lang sila, syempre, kasi alam mo yung mga projects ng mga congressman tsaka mga senador. Ang binabayaran ng gobyerno, yung kontratista. Okay? Hindi naman pumupunta yan doon sa public official Babayaran yung kontratista. Yung kontratista, papartihan yung congressman o senador. In some instances, the only instance na sila ang tumatanggap pag sila na yung kontratista. Ang dami ng congressman na kontratista, di ba? They're congressmen and kontratista.
Attorney, I wanna cut you there, but I wanna ask you about the names that we've heard yesterday, di ba, during the trial.
Mary Grace Piatos.
Mary Grace Piatos, you have Andy Lim,
Yes.
you have Alejandro Piquit, Sisfronio Balsac, di ba, yung mga rami. And you cannot fault the people na natatawa sila kasi ganon.
Ridiculous names.
So sabi niyo po kanina meron kayong nakausap na former intelligence officer.
High ranking.
Oo, so tama ba na ganun yung mga pangalan?
Sa akin, iniisip ko nga I'm imagining, when they were accomplishing this, itong kanilang yung mga liquidation documents na yan, na they're actually engaging in some kind of mockery of the public system and the people, no? Na, sige, pangalanan natin to, Mary Grace Piatos. Ganun. They could have resorted to more common names, more usual names, if these are in fact aliases, bakit naman ganun? Parang nire-ridicule nila tayo. Parang,
I think, attorney, kasi kanina, di ba you mentioned you allege that the Vice President, back when she was still Mayor of Davao, was so used already to pocketing quote-unquote confidential funds. Bakit trickle down na rin? Yung ganong klaseng behavior na sanay na sila. Sige, lagay na lang tayo ng ganitong laughable na pangalan. Di ba?
I agree.
Mary Grace Piatos.
I agree. Now, insofar as what you asked, Angela, about intelligence officers, I was able to talk to a high-ranking former intelligence officer who eventually became Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. He is my friend.
Sino ba yan?
He told me. That's the secret. That's the secret. He told me ganito it's all right to use aliases when you use intelligence or confidential funds. After all, sometimes you really do use informers. And the informers will not give their real names. They will put somebody else's name. But the question here are these really aliases? Because there's supposed to be a list daw naman where you can counter-check. But it's not with COA. Where you can counter-check aliases, registered Kailangan naman nakarehistro yan I just don't know exactly where you can find that list, no? my friend who used to be with the intelligence service, would know. The problem is if these people like Mary Grace Piatos is a completely fictitious person, di ba? It doesn't matter whether there is somebody whose name is Mary Grace Piatos, because for all you know, Maria Makiling, who is a real person, would be hired as an informer and use Mary Grace Piatos as an alias. Legitimate yan, di ba? But if there is no one, no real person, no natural person, who actually use the money, then there's a problem there. Kasi fictitious yan. Meaning they're just getting all the money and nobody's getting it except the Vice President. Kasi siya yung may ano eh. And siya yung may control niyan eh. And this is where the suggestion of Senator Judge Ping Lacson comes into play. Kasi sabi niya, better if they will get to the prosecution, no? A former intelligence officer who can explain this better. Yung mga intelligence funds. I think that's a good suggestion. They should go towards that direction. Kasi kailangan ng konting shock value eh.
What if the defense suddenly, pagdating nung time nila to present evidence, brings up
which is at the end, no? At the end.
These people na, claiming, I am Juan de la Cruz, I am
Mary Grace
Andy Lim.
Okay, they will be in big trouble. Kasi number one, I don't know if there will be anyone that they can recruit in the public who has, all that courage and bravado to go there and sit there and claim that she is Mary Grace Piatos. I think that's very unlikely. Number two, even if she does, hindi naman tama yung mga nire-reimburse niya eh. Hindi tama yung mga yung mga nire-receive niya eh. Nire-receive niya for medicines. Bakit for medicines? Dapat yung medicine, pinoprocure yan eh. Di ba? How do you know that these are the best medicines that confidential funds should be used for? So, mali talaga. Maling-mali yan. So, even if they do, I'm anticipating, yes, that maybe they will say aliases lang naman yan eh. So, don't pay too much attention to that. However, if they try to prove people who they will allege to be utilizing these names as aliases, maloloko yung kaso nila. Baka sumabog sa mukha nila yan.
Well, Attorney, so many irregularities were flagged already, and as you mentioned earlier, it's still early in the stage. So ano po ba yung missing link na hinahanap nyo personally? What do you want to see? You said you want to see more drama. But what is the missing link that the prosecution needs to establish to prove that there was misuse of confidential funds? Because yesterday, sinabi na po ni Attorney Wamil that the Vice President herself signed these documents. Diba? Kinonfirm niya. Signature yan ng Vice President. Isn't that enough? Hindi pa ba smoking gun yun?
The smoke is too little. Kasi parang implications lang yan eh. No? Na may mga irregularities. Technical yan eh. No? I'm looking for something more, more graphic, like somebody who can prove that this money were taken by the Vice President herself. Kaya the testimony of itong si Madriaga somehow assumes some significance eh. Kasi sinabi niya doon sa kanya mga salaysay, na binibigyan siya ng pera galing confidential funds na i-deliver niya sa mga supporters ni Vice President. So ginagamit ni Vice President, ibig sabihin, di ba? Ginagamit na. Kinukuha yung confidential funds, binibigay sa isang tao niya para ipamigay doon sa mga tauhan niyang iba pa. Okay? So that's being utilized not for the purpose of the confidential funds, but for other personal purposes. It's just like the money being pocketed by the Vice President. I hope they can be able to connect that, create that nexus and make the connection. Because if they are able to successfully do that, wala na. In the bag na to. Makukonvict ang Vice President.
Well, in terms of all the articles of impeachment, there was actually a recent survey by Okta. I think this just came out on Monday. It showed that bribery is the most serious impeachment charge against the VP at 43% nationwide. And then the misuse of confidential funds only came in second at 28%. So this is according to the survey. Can I just get your thoughts on that? Because you would think na pera natin yan eh.
Well, Cheska, I'm not a big believer on surveys naman eh. Minsan nagkakamali rin sila eh. Masyadong konti naman yung tinatanong eh. The three of you, have you ever been surveyed? Anyone in the world. I've been around. I've been around for a long time. Not once have I been asked in a survey. So which leads me to ask, sino ba talaga mga tinatanong nila? Di ba? Now, meron namang tinatawag na, okay, reputable yan, they are able to predict, no? But when it comes to this, kasi preference yan eh, this is a very subjective thing. I don't know how the question is phrased, so I don't know how the answer is given. And they just try to project it the way they see it. Insofar as I'm concerned, I don't think bribery is the strongest. I think it was the threat to the president and the money that's being stolen. Those are the really serious and grave offenses.
Well, sabay-sabay tayo later manood.
All right, and on that note, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us as always. Very great discussion there.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
JV. All right, thank you very much. That was lawyer and law dean attorney JV Bautista.
Day 12 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial is now underway. Let's watch this.
Panginoon ng lahat ng mga daigdig, ang pinakamawain, ang pinakamahabagin. Panginoon namin, hinihingi po namin ang inyong talino sa oras na ito. Sa oras na ito na ibinigay po sa amin ang pinakamabigat na obligasyon upang makapagbigay ng hustisya. Batid po namin, Panginoong Allah, na kayo lamang po ang nag-iisang hukom at ang pagiging hukom ay napakabigat na nakalagay po sa aming balikat upang magbigay ng hustisya, hindi lamang po sa mundong ito, kundi ito po ay isang bagay na dadalhin ng aming bayan sa kanyang kasaysayan. Napakabigat po nito, Panginoong Allah. At kayo lamang po ang makapagbibigay sa amin ng lakas ng loob upang magbigay ng tamang hustisya sa oras na ito. Amin.
Amen. The clerk of court will now call the roll.
Roll call of members. Senator Judge Aquino. Senator Judge Cayetano Alan. Senator Judge Cayetano Pia. Senator Judge De La Rosa. Senator Judge Ejercito. Senator Judge Estrada. Senator Judge Go. Senator Judge Ontiveros. Senator Judge Lacson. Senator Judge Lapid. Senator Judge Legarda. Senator Judge Marcoleta. Senator Judge Marcos. Senator Judge Padilla. Senator Judge Pangilinan. Senator Judge Soto III, Senator Judge Tulfo Erwin, Senator Judge Tulfo Rafi, Senator Judge Villanueva, Senator Judge Villar Camille, Senator Judge Villar Mark, Senator Judge Zubiri, the presiding officer, Senator Judge Escudero, Senate President Gatchalian.
With 19 senator judges present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. In accordance with the rules of procedure on impeachment trials, the chair now recognizes the duly elected presiding officer to preside over the proceedings of the impeachment court.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. If there are no objections, we shall dispense with the reading of the August 3, 2026 Journal of the Senate sitting as an impeachment court and shall consider the same as approved. Bago po tawagin ng presiding officer ang kasong nakabinbin sa impeachment court, may nais lamang po akong sabihin sa ngalan nating lahat. Magkakaiba man ang ating pananaw at bagaman magkakatunggali ang magkabilang panig dito sa impeachment court, may mga bagay-bagay na dapat pinagkakasunduan at pinagkakaisahan natin, lalo na dun sa mga napuyat kagabi kakapanood ng TV. At para sa akin ang isa po dito ay ang tagumpay at kampyonato ng ating magaling at magiting na kababayan na si Alex Ayala sa DC Open. Kaya't sa ngalan ng Senado, ng mga senator judges, mga kawani ng Senado, sa ngalan ng magatunggaling mga partido ng impeachment trial, nais po naming ipabatid ang aming nagkakaisang pagbati kay Binibining Alex Ayala sa kanyang panalo at kampyonato sa DC Open, tunay na ikinararangal at ipinagbubunyikan naming lahat. Congratulations sa iyo, Alex. Kaya pag may inaantok po na Senator Judge, malamang nanood kagabi. The clerk of court is instructed to kindly call the case before this impeachment court.
Case number 004-2026 in the matter of impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte.
Appearances?
Your Honor, same appearance for the prosecution. I understand, Your Honor, that this is a continuation of the direct examination of the prosecution's witness, Attorney Wamil. And with that, Your Honor, may we ask that the counsel for the prosecution, Attorney Lorna Kapunan, be recognized.
Noted. At the proper time, yes. Counsel for respondent appearances.
Same appearance for the respondent accused. Good morning, Your Honors.
Good morning. Before the presiding officer calls on the counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Kapunan, for the continuation of his crossing the witness, the chair would like to ask if the respondent, or rather counsel for respondent, has been furnished with a copy of the panel of prosecutors with respect to the request for judicial notice.
Yes, that is correct, Your Honors. We were furnished yesterday.
For your information, counsel, we will hear your arguments for or against it and or a written opposition or agreement with that motion tomorrow. Just to give you advanced information before we start the trial, so that you have enough time.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
At this juncture, Chair would now like to recognize, with the permission of the Honorable Chua, the prosecutor, rather the counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Kapunan, and Chair instructs the clerk of court to bring the witness, Mr. Wamil, before the witness stand. Mr. Wamil, it is understood that you will be continuing with your testimony under the same oath that you had and did yesterday. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Attorney Kapunan, counsel for the panel of prosecutors, you may continue with your direct examination of the witness, Mr. Wamil of the Commission on Audit.
Thank you, Your Honors. To the Senate impeachment judges and to the presiding officer and Senate President, I beg the indulgence of this honorable court to start this with a recess. The reason this is necessary, Your Honor, is because yesterday, when prosecution asked for a recess with the permission or consent of the counsel for the respondent, we started to identify and cross-check the 845 acknowledgement receipts. Unfortunately, time ran out, and our assisting counsels only were able to show half of it, Your Honors. Although this court will recall that under Rule 130, Section 3, in coordination with Section 7, we were able to mark a tabulation or a summary prepared personally by this witness, Your Honor, to preempt any possible objection of the respondents and any manifestation that they were not allowed to compare the copies of our exhibits and their own exhibits as regards the rest of the acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor, unless they will stipulate that there is no need, Your Honor, then it becomes necessary for a brief recess, Your Honor.
Counsel, for what purpose is the recess?
Your Honor, please, yesterday, when we resumed hearing yesterday, Your Honor, and we were going over these 3 boxes and several folders, Your Honor, it had to abruptly stop because we had resumed session. And at that time, our associates noted that kalahati lang po ang natapos sa pag-compare.
Counsel, the presiding officer will have a query first beforehand. Yesterday, you presented a summary and a table of his findings based on the 845 acknowledgement receipts contained in the
Three boxes.
three boxes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you presented some samples. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 examples rather. So you mean to say you want to present more acknowledgement receipts as samples as part of the tabulation of the witness?
No, Your Honor. What we would like to do now and inquire from counsel for the respondent is if it's no longer necessary for your associates to look over the said acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor, if they can manifest that and to preempt any possible technical objection in the future on their cross-examination or upon offer of these exhibits, Your Honor. Because these exhibits will have to be offered in due time. And we do not want it as an objection to the offer that they were not able to compare the rest of the acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor. Now, to preempt that, if counsel is willing to forego with that potential objection, Your Honor, we're ready to proceed.
You're talking of only the acknowledgement receipts for the period covering December 21 to December 31, 2022.
Yes,
Is
Your
that
Honor.
what you're referring to? I think I know what counsel for respondent will already say, but yes, counsel for respondent, what is your comment on the manifestation of the counsel for the panel of prosecutors?
Your Honor, we haven't stipulated on anything, so I don't see why there's a need to compare, actually. We haven't stipulated on anything.
Actually, Attorney Kapunan, counsel for the respondent already said yesterday that just subject to cross insofar
Yes.
as the non-stipulated matters is concerned.
That's correct.
The counsel for respondent stipulated on everything you asked for in your list of documents except for that. Except for the acknowledgement receipts for the period covering December 21 to 31, 2022. My understanding, counsel, is that you will be presenting samples from the tabulation or summary of the witness. And as I said, you presented already 6. You may proceed to present samples or examples under each category of his table without prejudice, however many they may be, subject to your call and discretion, given the refusal to stipulate by the counsel for respondent, which is, of course, they would be well within their rights not to do so, given their own legal theory of the case.
We submit, Your Honor.
So kindly proceed, counsel.
With the permission of this honorable court, same appearance. Good morning to the senator judges. Mr. Witness, yesterday, you were able to identify 845 going through these documents, acknowledgement receipts, Mr. Witness.
Yes, ma'am.
In these 845 acknowledgement receipts, which the prosecution marked as exhibits P-1-8-1 up to P-1-8-848, there is a portion there, and I will show you a sample on the screen. There is a portion in all of these acknowledgement receipts. At the bottom thereof, there is a signature in the phrase certified true copy. Can we present this witness with a sample acknowledgement receipt?
Assisting counsel may approach from both parties. It's still Attorney Peña, right?
Yes, Your Honor, and
I remember.
his mother will be happy again. Can you go through some of this acknowledgement receipts, Your Honor? While counsel is showing over these acknowledgement receipts to our witness, Mr. Wamil, we would like to make a manifestation that at the bottom portion of all of these exhibits, identified or being identified now by this witness, have the statement certified true copy. being shown on the screen. Mr. Witness, can you read?
Yes, ma'am.
It says certified crew copy, and there is a name, Davin Bakay. Would you know who this person is?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is Mr. Bakay?
Siya po ay admin staff ng COA ICFAO.
COA ICFAO. And his signature, there is a signature that appears over the name Davin Bakay. Whose signature is this?
Sa kanya po.
Why
Kay
do you
Divin
know?
Bakay po. Nakita ko po siyang pumirma ng ibang dokumento at yung kanyang pirma sa mga dokumentong iyon ay kapares po ng kanyang pirma sa certified true copies.
In all of these acknowledgement receipts that you have seen or saw yesterday,
Yes, ma'am.
is it the same Bakay that certified as to this photocopies being certified true copies?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, with that, we will proceed where we left off yesterday, Your Honor.
Yes, I believe you were able to identify already the checks and made the witness identify the checks already for the first, second, and third quarter, Counsel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed, Counsel.
Yesterday, Mr. Witness, we had identified and you had confirmed certain land bank checks. We will now go to disbursement checks, which you said, disbursement vouchers, which you said were among the documents submitted by the Office of the Vice President to allegedly liquidate her confidential funds, if shown to you, Mr. Witness. 3, disbursement vouchers. And again, with the kind permission of the court and for easy reference of the honorable impeachment judges on screen, and if you please check this copy being shown to you, these are stipulated documents, Your Honor, and common exhibits of both the prosecution and the defense. For the prosecution, there is a disbursement voucher dated January 31, 2023, Exhibit P-1-10-B, shown on the screen. Likewise, there is a disbursement voucher dated April 10, 2023, Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-10-C, and likewise, the defense exhibit. And lastly, disbursement voucher dated July 13, 2023, Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-10-D. Mr. Witness,
With the indulgence of counsel, just for the record, the same pieces of evidence identified by the counsel for the panel of prosecutors are also marked, respectively, as D-133-OVP, D-1-57, rather 33 OVP, D-1-57 OVP, and D-1-82 OVP for the respondent. Counsel may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Witness, sinabi mo kahapon na itong mga disbursement vouchers ay sinubmit ng Vice President mismo, ng office niya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pakisabi sa atin, ano ba ang significance nitong mga disbursement vouchers na nakikita natin sa screen?
Ang significance po ng disbursement voucher na ito po kasi yung mag-initiate nung kanilang pag-process nung cash advance. At dito rin po nagsacertify yung various signatories nung disbursement voucher.
Ang disbursement voucher, sinabi mo, dito nag-uumpisa ang proseso?
Yes, ma'am.
Anong proseso yun?
Ng kanilang pag-withdraw po ng kanilang cash advance for the confidential fund.
Withdrawal ng cash advance para saang periods? There are 3 disbursement vouchers shown on the screen and which you had identified. For clarity, ano ang mga periods na kino-cover nitong disbursement vouchers na to?
Based on these disbursement vouchers po, ang period covered ay yung first DV, first quarter of 2023, yung second DV, second quarter of 2023, at yung third DV po ay third quarter of 2023.
So covered ang tatlong quarters ng confidential funds.
Based on these
Now,
documents po,
based
yes.
on these documents. We go now to another set. Oh, there is a signature here. Here in the middle, there appears a signature being flashed on the screen. Nakalagay certified expense, cash advance, necessary, lawful, and incurred under my direct supervision. You confirm, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose signature is this, if you know?
This is the signature po of the Vice President Sara Duterte.
And why do you know that this is her signature?
Because the Office of the Vice President submitted po the specimen signatures of the signatories of their documents, and included in that submission po is the specimen signature of the Vice President, and her signature po on that specimen signatures is the same po with her signature on this document.
Okay. Nakikita natin yung tatlong signature ng Vice President sa disbursement vouchers na yan. What is the significance of her signature in these 3 disbursement vouchers, kung masasabi mo?
Based on these documents po, sinertify ni Vice President na yung kanyang cash advances ay kailangan na ayon sa batas at na-incur po under her direct supervision.
And ano ang observations mo dito sa tatlong disbursement vouchers na to?
With respect lang po dun sa disbursement voucher for the third quarter of 2023, hindi po napirmahan yung Box E, which is the receipt of payment portion.
Anong significance ng observation mo na to?
Ito po kasi yung patunay na na-receive ni kung sino man po yung pay nung cheque, yung payment.
At sa pagka-evaluate mo nitong disbursement vouchers na to, ito ba ay compliant sa joint circular na sinabi mo kahapon?
Based on my evaluation po, wala naman po akong nakitang findings bukod dun sa walang signature yung Box E of the third quarter disbursement voucher.
Okay. Punta naman tayo sa next set of documents. 3 na naman to for the 3 periods that you mentioned. Showing to you on the screen, and please go over the documents being presented by Attorney Peña. There is a liquidation report dated March 29, 2023. Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-9B. A liquidation report dated July 11, 2023, which is prosecution's Exhibit P-1-9C, and a liquidation report dated October 23, 2023, prosecution's Exhibit P-1-9D, a common exhibit stipulated by counsel for the respondent yesterday, Your Honor.
Again, with the indulgence of counsel for the panel of prosecutors, for the record and for the easy reference of Senator Judges, the 3 documents referred to by Attorney Kapunan respectively are marked as well by the respondent as D-1-30-OVP, D-1-55-OVP, D-1-80-OVP. Do you confirm, counsel?
I confirm, Your Honor.
Counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Kapunan, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In the middle of these 3 liquidation reports, there appears to be an indication, quote-unquote, certified purpose of cash advance duly accomplished. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
And there is a signature, again, appearing on top. There is a signature appearing thereat. Whose signature is this?
This is the signature po of the Vice President Sara Duterte.
And you're familiar with this for the same reason, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is the significance of the statement certified purpose of cash advance duly accomplished with the signature of the Vice President appearing in all of these certifications?
Based on these documents po, ang significance po nun ay sinertify po ni Vice President na yung purpose ng kanilang cash advances ay na-accomplish po ng agency.
And any observations as regards these three documents?
Wala naman po akong nakitang findings about these liquidation reports po.
Just for purposes of clarity, itong three documents are similar to the three periods, the first quarter, the second quarter, and the third quarter months that you earlier mentioned, Mr. Witness?
Can you repeat the question po, ma'am?
Okay. Itong tatlong itong tatlong dokumento na nakikita mo dyan, para saang period ito?
Based on these liquidation reports po, yung first liquidation report, ang period covered ay February 6 to March 29, 2023. Yung second liquidation report po ay April 25 to June 30, 2023. At yung third liquidation report po ay July 14 to September 30, 2023.
Okay. Para maalala natin, to remind us, Mr. Witness, for these 3 quarters of the Office of the Vice President for which she submitted liquidation reports, magkano ang amount ng confidential fund per quarter?
Based on these documents po, ang amount ng kanilang quarterly cash advance ay 125 million pesos per quarter.
Ito ba ay fixed amount?
Based on these documents po, yes, ma'am.
At ito ba ay winidrawn ng buo?
Based on these documents po, yes po.
Punta naman tayo sa another 3 sets of documents shown on the screen for easy reference and document being shown to the witness to refresh his memory. We have accomplishment report dated March 30, 2023, Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-7-B. Likewise, an accomplishment report dated July 11, 2023, Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-7C, and accomplishment report dated October 9, 2023, Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-7D. Likewise, Your Honor, stipulated documents, common exhibits, both for the prosecution and the respondent or defense.
Counsel for respondent, would you like to
Yes,
identify for
manifest.
the record the counterpart markings on the part of the respondent?
Yes, Your Honors. On the part of the
Respectively.
respondent, yes, Your Honors. These are marked as Exhibit D-1-74-OVP, D-1-50-OVP, and D-1-99-OVP, Your Honor. For the record. Sorry, if the first one is actually D-1-50-OVP. The second one would be D-74-OVP, and the third one would be D-1-99-OVP, for the record, Your Honor.
Counsel, D-1-50-DE with respect to the 3/30/23 accomplishment report, not D-1-21-DE?
For the first quarter, Your Honors, sorry.
Yes,
You may repeat.
accomplishment report.
For first quarter, it's D-1-50
okay.
OVP, not DE, Your Honor.
Dash OVP. Clerk of Court is instructed to kindly correct our records if at all it is different from what the counsel for respondent manifested. Counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Capunan, you may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Witness, for purposes, para malinawan tayo, ano yung mga periods na kinover ng tatlong accomplishment reports na to?
Yung first accomplishment report po, ang nakalagay po na period covered ay February 6 to March 29, 2023. Yung second accomplishment report po, ang nakalagay na period ay April 25 to June 30, 2023. At yung pangatlo po, July 14 to September 30, 2023.
So 3 quarters ng Office of the Vice President. Tama.
Yes, ma'am.
Meron dito, common to all of these exhibits flash on the screen is the phrase approved by. And there is a signature. There is a signature there. Whose signature is this?
This is the signature po of the Vice President Sara Duterte.
Familiar to you for the same reason, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
And ano ang ibig sabihin ng nakalagay dyan, approved by, at pinirmahan ng Vice President sa 3 dokumentong ito?
Ang ibig sabihin po nito ay inapprove niya kung ano man po yung contents ng kanilang quarterly accomplishment reports.
Na-approve ng Vice President mismo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, for our appreciation, punta ngayon tayo sa first quarter. Anong observations mo dito sa nakikita mong first quarter accomplishment report?
Based on this first quarter accomplishment report, meron pong 2 items dito na hindi kasama dun sa allowable confidential expenses under item 4.8 of the Joint Circular 2015-01.
Anong ibig sabihin ng hindi allowable? Bawal? Bawal ba?
Opo, kasi yung listahan po ng allowable confidential expenses under 4.8 ng Joint Circular ay exclusive. So kapag hindi po kasama doon, hindi po pwedeng paggabitan ng kanilang confidential fund.
Aside from itong sinasabi mong bawal na paggamit ng confidential fund appearing in this document, meron ka pa bang ibang observation?
Meron din pong line item for the payment of reward under item B po nung kanilang actual outcome and accomplishment, at wala po silang sinubmit na any document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer as required po under item 4.8.5 of the Joint Circular.
So itong linalagay dyan ng payment of reward, ang sinasabi mo, Mr. Witness, based on the Joint Circular, violation ba ito?
Yes, ma'am, that is a violation po.
Bakit ulit violation itong nakalagay dyan?
Violation po siya since hindi po siya compliant dun sa conditions ng payment of reward, which is yung dapat meron po siyang supporting document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account po ng information given by the informer.
Sa lahat ng mga liquidation documents na binigay sa'yo or sinubmit sa office ng COA-ICFAO, wala bang any dokumento na nagpapatunay na ang rewards na binigay sa informant ay nag-result ng successful activity?
Based on their submissions po, wala po, ma'am.
Meron pa bang observation dito?
Wala na po.
Punta naman tayo sa accomplishment report ng second quarter. Exhibit P-1-7C. Any observations? Ano naman ang masasabi mo dito sa accomplishment report na inapprove mismo ng Vice President Sara Duterte?
Katulad po nung naunang accomplishment report, meron din po silang line items for provision of medical and food aid at payments of incentive or traveling relative to the confidential operations na hindi po among the allowable confidential expenses under item 4.8 of the Joint Circular 2015-01.
Sinabi mo na meron nakalagay dyan medicines. Bakit sinabi mo na bawal o hindi allowed ito
Dahil
sa
hindi
Joint Circular?
Hindi po siya kasama dun sa exclusive list of allowable confidential expenses under item 4.8 po.
Ano pa ang na-observe mo dito?
Meron din pong line item for the payment of reward for 12 million pesos, pero hindi po siya suportado ng any document evidencing.
Your Honor, objection. I beg the indulgence of the...
What is the objection of counsel?
Your Honor, I gave some leeway earlier to the witness, but we moved to strike out the witness, strike out the answer of the witness as far as the payment of reward is concerned. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan lang naman natin dito, on its face, kung merong mali sa utilization of confidential intelligence funds in terms of the accomplishment report. He is now going into the findings, which is not part and parcel of this form, which is the accomplishment report, Your Honor. So,
Not yet part of it.
not yet. So what I'm saying is the payment of reward by itself is not a violation. Indicating the payment of reward here by itself is not a violation of the joint circular, Your Honor.
Because we are not yet, if at all, at the AOM level
Exactly,
and or notices. But kindly reform, counsel. Objection sustained.
Ito bang payment of rewards kasama dyan sa tinatawag na allowable expense ng confidential funds?
Based on item 4.8 po, yes po, subject to the 3 conditions as enumerated po.
Okay. Ano itong 3 conditions?
Under item 4.8.5 of the joint circular, payment of rewards must be made to non-employees of the informers who must be non-employees of the agency concerned, subject first to the approval of the head of the agency, second to the submission of documents evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account given by the informer, and thirdly po, it must be directly related to the confidential operations of the concerned agency.
At sa mga requirements na sinabi mo, compliant ba ang Office of the Vice President?
Based on their submissions po, hindi po sila nag-submit ng any document evidencing the success po of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer.
Before we proceed to the third quarter and your further observations dito sa second quarter, magkano ba ang sinabi na amount na ginamit sa confidential funds para sa medicines?
Can you repeat the question po? What quarter po?
Okay. Magkano ba, if you know, kasi ikaw nag-evaluate, magkano ba ang ginastos para sa medicines?
For what quarter po, ma'am? Sorry.
For the second
For
quarter.
the second quarter. Based on this accomplishment report po, yung provision of medical and food aid ay nagkaka-amount po ng 40 million pesos.
Magkano ulit?
Based po on this accomplishment report, yung provision of medical and food aid ay 40 million pesos po yung amount.
Sa first quarter naman, meron bang entry dyan na nakalagay medicines?
Meron pong entry dito for provision of medical and food aid for 40 million pesos po.
40 million pesos.
42 million pesos.
42 million pesos ang nakalagay dyan ngayon.
Yes, ma'am.
Sa accomplishment report na yan, meron bang inattach ang Office of the Vice President? First and second quarter na in-identify, meron ba siyang inattach mga dokumento na nagpapatunay na ginastos talaga yung 42 million na yan for the first quarter and 10 million na yan for the second quarter for medicines alone, Mr. Witness? Meron bang attachment itong accomplishment report na sinubmit?
Wala po silang in-attach na any document po supporting yung kanilang payment for medicine.
Okay. Earlier, minention mo, meron ring gastos for traveling. Magkano naman yun, Mr. Witness?
For what quarter po, ma'am?
For the first quarter muna.
For the first quarter po, yung kanilang payment of incentives or traveling relative to confidential operations ay 10 million pesos po.
10 million pesos. At again, tanong ko, sa expense na 10 million na yan for traveling expenses, meron bang inattach na mga annexes? Diyan, para explain, paano ginastos sa travel ang 10 million? May mga attachments ba yung accomplishment report na yan?
Wala po silang in-attach.
Hindi na-explain itong 10 million, Mr. Witness? Walang official receipts attached? Meron ba?
Wala pong official receipts na attached.
Any other observation sa second quarter?
There you go. Okay.
Same lang po with the first quarter yung findings po dito.
Sa third quarter naman po tayo pumunta. Exhibit P-1-17, 7-D. What are your observations? Ano naman ang masasabi mo dito sa accomplishment report ng Vice President?
Meron din po silang payment of reward dito na worth 35 million pesos. Pero wala po silang inattach na any document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer.
Okay. Sinabi mo na walang sinubmit na ebidensya. Wala bang naka-attach dito sa accomplishment report?
Wala po, ma'am.
Walang report on success of the surveillance activity?
Wala po.
And, sa pagkaalam mo, and based on your evaluation of the provisions of the joint circular, compliance audit ito, compliant ba ito?
Hindi po siya compliant, ma'am.
Bakit, Mr. Witness?
Dahil wala nga pong supporting document po yung kanilang payment of rewards as required under item 4.8.5 of the joint circular.
Sinabi mo 4.8 ng joint circular. Ito ba yung pinakita mo sa impeachment court kahapon? Yung 4.8 na yan? Yung provision?
Isa po siya sa pinakita kahapon.
Okay. Ngayon, magkano naman? Magkano yung item na yan sa third quarter report?
For the third quarter po, ang amount ng kanilang payment of rewards ay 35 million pesos.
35 million pesos. Para sa isang quarter lang.
Yes, ma'am.
Para sa third quarter. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Punta naman tayo sa next set of documents na sinubmit rin ng Office of the Vice President para i-liquidate yung kanyang confidential funds for the first, second, and third quarter. I refer you now, flashed on the screen and being shown to you, are certifications submitted by the Office of the Vice President. Unang-una, certification of the Office of the Vice President dated March 30, 2023, Exhibit P-1-6-B. Pangalawa, OVP certification dated July 11, 2023, which is Prosecution's Exhibit P-1-6-C. At pangatlo, OVP certification dated October 9, 2023, Exhibit P-1-6-D for the prosecution stipulated upon by the respondent and likewise part of their defense exhibits.
Yes, we confirm, Your Honor, and we would like to manifest that for the first quarter certification that is marked as Exhibit D-1-34-OVP. Second quarter, that is Exhibit D-1-58-OVP. And for the third quarter, it's D-1-83-OVP for the defense, Your Honor.
And your documents are certified true copies, Counsel for Respondent.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Counsel for the panel of prosecutors may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, please look at these certifications. Meron nakalagay dyan sa bottom ng page, attested. Anong ibig sabihin ng attested?
Ang ibig sabihin po ng attested ay verify at confirm po as true nung signatory dito yung contents nung certification.
At sino naman ang signatory na nakikita natin sa dokumentong ito?
Based on this certification po, si Vice President Sara Duterte.
At siya mismo ang nag-attest na tama lahat ang nakalagay dyan?
Based on these documents po, yes ma'am.
Okay. And you are familiar with the signature for the same reason, Mr. Witness?
Yes ma'am.
Ano naman ang mga observations ang masasabi mo tungkol sa tatlong dokumentong ito? Incidentally, Mr. Witness, what periods did this cover, again, for the record?
Based on their submissions po, yung for the first quarter, yung February 6 to March 29, 2023. For the second quarter, April 25 to June 30, 2023. And for the third quarter, July 14 to September 30, 2023 po.
Okay. Ano naman ang masasabi mo? Ano naman ang observations mo sa tatlong dokumentong ito?
Since these are pro forma documents po, wala naman po akong na-note na observations with these certifications.
Anong ibig sabihin ng pro forma? Parang copy-paste?
Naka-attach po siya as annex dun sa Joint Circular 2015-01.
Okay. Naka-attach sa joint circular at yun ang sinabit nila?
Naka-annex po.
Okay.
Yung format.
Ang tawag doon ay?
Pro forma po. Naka-annex yung format dun sa Joint Circular 2015-01.
Ang tawag ko doon copy-paste. Na copy-paste. Anyway.
Your Honor, again, with all due respect to opposing counsel, I would like to object to
Sustained.
that characterization, Your Honor.
Sustained, counsel.
I withdraw, Your Honor. I just could not resist myself.
Sustained. Counsel
Now,
may proceed.
Provisions of the joint circular. Sinabi mo, ito yung pinagbasihan mo ng mga evaluation mo ng mga documents na to. What, if any, are the violations that you observe based on the joint circular?
May i-clarify po kung anong document po yung pinipertain niyo, ma'am.
Ano? Sa lahat ng dokumento.
Sa lahat po ng dokumento. Based on, for what quarter po? Sorry.
For all the quarters.
For all the quarters. Yung first and second quarter po kasi magkasama sa isang AOM lang. And then yung third quarter ay nakaseparate po yung AOM.
So punta muna tayo sa first and sinasabi mo, Mr. Witness, na yung first and second quarter, isa lang ang na-issue na AOM. Ano tong ibig sabihin ulit ng AOM?
Audit Observation Memorandum po.
Okay. And?
Based on the Joint Circular 2015-01, yung Audit Observation Memorandum po ay yung written notification to the agency informing them of the deficiencies po noted during the audit and requiring them to submit an explanation or the documents being sought po dun sa AOM or both.
Okay, under the circular, this joint circular that you mentioned, ito bang Audit Observation Memorandum, kailan ini-issue ito?
Ini-issue po siya upon evaluation po nung auditor noong documents at may na-note po siyang findings doon based on the evaluation po.
Okay. Pero meron tayong konting background, no? Kasi kahapon, meron ring na-stipulate ang respondent at ang prosecution ng mga notice of suspension at notice of disallowance. For the better appreciation of this honorable court, paki-educate kami. Pakisabi nga anong difference ng AOM, Audit Observation Memorandum, pagkatapos yung Notice of Suspension, at pagkatapos yung Notice of Disallowance. Ano ang mga pagkakaiba nitong tatlo?
If I am to start po with the definitions po based on the joint circular, katulad po nung na-define ko kanina sa AOM, it is an written notification to the agency concerned of the deficiencies noted during the audit and requiring them to submit an explanation po or the documents being sought or both po. At ang agency po ay merong 15 days from the receipt of the AOM within which to submit their comments, justifications, or documents po as required
Okay.
po in the AOM.
So pagkatapos ng issuance ng isang audit observation memorandum, ang mga subject ng audit ay binibigyan ng 15 days para mag-submit ng mga dokumento.
Based po dun sa rules and regulations on settlement of accounts po ng COA. Yes, ma'am.
Paano pag may sinubmit na dokumento at hindi pa rin sapat or tama or insufficient or may discrepancy? Anong nangyayari?
Kapag may sinamit po na document at based on the evaluation of the auditor, hindi pa rin po sapat yung document na yon, then that is the time po na mag-i-issue na po ng notice of suspension.
Anong definition ng notice of suspension sa joint circular?
Under the joint circular po, yung notice of suspension is a written notification to the agency head and the accountant informing them of the temporary disallowance po nung disbursement sa audit because it appears that the disbursement is irregular, illegal, or improper and requiring them to submit their justifications or the documents po being sought in the AOM or both.
Sinabi mo, Mr. Witness, para maintindihan natin, no? Ito ay temporary. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on findings na irregular. Ano ba irregular? Ano ibig sabihin
Irregular.
ng irregular?
Based on COA circulars po, ang irregular disbursement ay yung mga disbursement na hindi umaayon or hindi nagko-comply dun sa requirements ng mga COA issuances.
Okay. Sa Pilipino, ang tawag dito ay irregular pa rin. Tama? Itong illegal. Anong ibig sabihin ng illegal?
Kapag sinabi pong illegal, yung disbursement po ay hindi nagko-comply dun sa applicable laws.
At kung sinabi mong improper?
Kapag improper naman po, ang ibig sabihin, yung expenses ay either unnecessary, excessive, extravagant, or unconscionable po.
So pag nagbigay kayo ng notice of suspension, ito ay nagpapahayag. This means, ang significance nito ay na-observe ninyo, ikaw, sa audit findings mo, na ito ay irregular, illegal, or improper.
Leading, Your Honor. Objection.
Kindly reform, Counsel.
I will go to the next question. Pag hindi na-comply ang notice of suspension, what action, if any, is taken by your office?
Kapag hindi po na-comply yung notice of suspension, then that is the time po na mag-i-issue na kami ng notice of disallowance.
Ano naman itong notice of disallowance?
Based on the joint circular po, yung notice of disallowance ay yung written notification to the agency head or the accountant informing them of the disallowance nung disbursement and requiring them to restitute the amount po nung disbursement because yung disbursement ay illegal, improper, or irregular.
So, Mr. Witness, whether tinatawag mo ito AOM or Audit Observation Memorandum, or whether notice of suspension, or whether notice of disallowance, in these three stages, nabibigyan ng opportunity ang ino-audit na agency para mag-comply? Yun po ba ang ibig sabihin ng explanation mo?
Kapag sa AOM po, tsaka notice of suspension, yes, binibigyan po silang ng opportunity para mag-comply. Pero kapag ND na po kasi, pag notice of disallowance, ang tanging remedy na lang nila is to settle the amount or to appeal with the commission proper.
Okay. Let us go now to the issue of the Office of the Vice President. Earlier, you said AOMs were issued to the Office of the Vice President, correct? Now,
yes, ma'am.
Specifically, let us go now to the first and second quarter of 2023, showing to you, and if shown to you, and flashed on the screen, would you be able to identify the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, please, for purposes of identification, this again is a stipulated common exhibit. This AOM, dated February 1, 2024, corresponding to the first and second quarters, have been identified as Exhibit P-1-12-E for the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. On the part of the defense, this was pre-marked as D-1-105-OVP for the information of the Honorable Court.
Noted. Attorney Capunan, may proceed.
Please look at this AOM and refresh your memory. What, Mr. Witness, did you observe from this AOM?
Yung findings po or observations namin, una po, hindi po nag-submit ng documentary evidence of payments si OBP for the first and second quarters of 2023. Pangalawa po, based on their accomplishment report, meron kasing nakalagay as payment of rewards pero wala pong sinubmit si OBP na any document evidencing the success po, which is in violation of the item 4.8.5 of the joint circular.
Your Honor, for the better appreciation, Your Honor, and with your permission, this is being flashed on the screen. The findings made are boxed in red, Your Honor. So yung second finding mo, ulitin natin.
Yung una po ay walang sinubmit na documentary evidence of payment si OBP for the first and second quarter of 2023.
Ano pa?
Pangalawa po, dahil may line item for the payment of rewards sa kanilang accomplishment report, wala po silang sinubmit na any document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer in violation po nung item 4.8.5 of the joint circular.
Meron mga, before you go to your next observation, Mr. Witness, merong mga amounts stated dyan. For the record, can you read these amounts and what periods they correspond to in terms of payment of rewards?
Based on this AOM po, yung 15 million pesos ay binayad as payment of reward noong February 6 to March 29, 2023. At yung 12 million pesos naman po ay binayad as reward noong April 25 to June 30, 2023.
And nakalagay dito, non-compliant with item 4.8 from 0.5.b of the joint circular. Why is this non-compliant based on your submissions in your AOM?
Yung item 4.8.5.b po kasi, yun yung documentary evidence o yung document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities. Pero since wala po silang sinubmit na document na yun, hindi po nag-comply yung kanilang payment of rewards dun sa requirements ng joint circular.
Para maintindihan natin, kasi medyo technical to, no? Ano yung evidence of success? Ano ang kino-consider ng office mo na evidence of success?
Actually, based dun po sa joint circular, walang any specific document na na-mention. Pero kasi ang tinitingnan po namin is dapat merong causal link yung surveillance activity, yung successful surveillance activity or information gathering at saka yung information given by the informer.
Hindi ba confidential itong information na rini-require niya? Confidential ba to? Yung tinatawag mo na causal. Cause at saka effect.
Yes, ma'am.
Hindi ba yan? Is that confidential information?
Since yun po yung requirement ng joint circular, kailangan po nilang i-comply po.
Necessary ba ang... Ano ang... No, I will refund. Next question, Mr. Witness. There is a box here in paragraph 3. What is this all about?
What box po? The
Sa
one being
report?
shown?
Ano ang nakalagay dito? Nakalagay sa paragraph 3 that the amount with reference to medicine and food aid. Please look at your notes and tell us the significance of these findings.
Nakalagay po dito sa number 3 na merong items for the provision of medical and food aid at payment of incentives for traveling relative to the confidential operations ng agency doon sa kanilang first and second quarter accomplishment reports.
Okay. Meron mga amounts indicated dito, pakibasa.
Yes, ma'am. For the accomplishment report for the period February 6 to March 29, 2023,
Magkano ito?
sa provision of medical and food aid po, ang nagastos nila ay 42 million pesos. Tapos sa accomplishment report for the April 25 to June 30, 2023, yung nagastos po nila for the provision of medical and food aid ay 40 million pesos po.
So ang total nito, Mr. Witness, para sa period na to ay 42 million plus 40 million.
Yes, ma'am.
82 million, Mr. Witness.
Based on their submission po, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
82.
and based on their submissions, did they also attach to their submissions any documents showing or proving payments for medical supplies or food supplies?
Wala po.
Again, meron pang ibang figures dito, pakibasa, and what are they for?
Yung isa naman po, yung February 6 to March 29 period, 10 million po yung binayad for the payment of incentives or traveling relative to the confidential operations. At for the period naman po na April 25 to June 30, 2023, may binayad po na another 10 million for the payment of incentives or traveling relative to the confidential operations.
Okay. So sa binasa mo, ang total nito ay 20 million.
Yes, ma'am.
At itong 20 million ba, may kasamang mga resibo or attachments para patunayan na nagastos tong 20 million para sa travel?
Based on their submissions po, wala pong inattach si OBP.
Okay. And sa last sentence, ano itong amount na 20 million pesos?
Ayan po yung total po nung kanilang payment of incentives or traveling relative to the confidential operations for the first and second quarter po.
Okay. Ngayon, meron kang conclusion sa last paragraph. Can you read it?
The provision of medical and food aid and payment of incentives or traveling relative to the confidential operations expenses do not fall among those enumerated under item 4.8 of the joint circular. Thus, the same should not be charged against the confidential fund of the agency.
At sinasabi mo, ang nature ng listahan sa joint circular ay ano?
Exclusive po.
Exclusive. Anong ibig sabihin ng exclusive? Bawal ang wala sa listahan. Tama ba yan?
Yes, ma'am.
Another box item is paragraph number 4. Please refer to your notes as shown on the screen. Anong significance, if any, nitong finding mo sa AOM?
Under number 4 po, hindi po naka-indicate sa kanilang physical and financial plan yung specific confidential activities na kanilang paggagamitan po ng kanilang pondo in violation of the item 4.2 of the joint circular.
Okay. Itong physical and financial plan, identified to at stipulated document ito, tama?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ngayon, ano ba dapat pag tinitignan ng isang physical and financial plan? Ano ba ang hinahanap dyan?
Tinitingnan po na...
Kasama ba dyan? Sakop ba niyan ang Christmas party?
Paulit po ng tanong.
Kasama ba sa physical and financial plan ang Christmas party?
Yung agency po ang makakapag-answer niyan.
Okay, kasama ba dyan?
Yung physical and financial plan po kasi ay ginagamit nila to support their allocation.
Okay, kasama ba dyan tree planting?
It is outside po my authority to answer that since agency lang po ang makakasagot niyan.
Okay, kasama ba dyan ang magbibigay ka ng awards? In the nature of your definition of confidential funds, are these activities considered confidential activities?
As an answered, Your Honors, it is beyond the witness authority to
If he
determine.
knows, Your Honor.
If he knows.
He's competent. He's a competent witness. He's the one who personally evaluated, and he's also a
Witness may
lawyer.
answer if he knows, Mr. Wamel. You may answer if you know.
If I am to relate po yung sinabi nyo dun sa item 4.8 of the joint circular, hindi po kasama yung mga binanggit nyo dun sa allowable expenses po ng confidential fund.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Punta naman tayo sa itong AOM, Audit Observation Memorandum, ang exhibit number ay, for the record, P-1-12-E. Mr. Counsel, for the respondent, this is a common exhibit.
Already stipulated and the counterpart exhibit marking by the respondent was already given for the record.
After receiving...
Your Honor, may we just clarify if we're referring to the first quarter AOM?
She's referring to the
The first and second.
respondent's D-1-105-OVP.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, for clarity's sake, the first and second quarters are covered by only one audit observation memorandum, which this witness just testified on.
Yes, counsel. The counsel for respondent confirms that. The presiding officer confirms that as well.
What other liquidation documents, Mr. Witness, were submitted to you for the Office of the Vice President? We now go to the third quarter. No.
Third quarter.
The findings on liquidation. Mr. Witness, what were your findings? Because this covered the first and second quarter. Ano naman ang findings mo tungkol sa third quarter
Sa
ng Office of the Vice President?
Sa third quarter po ng third quarter cash advance and liquidation po ng Office of the Vice President, ang naging findings po doon ay una, hindi nag-submit si Office of the Vice President ng kanilang documentary evidence of payments para sa kanilang third quarter liquidation, which is violation po nung item 4.12 of the joint circular. Yung kanilang accomplishment report ay merong payment of reward. Pero hindi po siya substantiated ng any document evidencing the success of the information gathering or surveillance activities on account of the information given by the informer, which is in violation of the item 4.8.5b of the joint circular. At pangatlo po, Your Honor, may I be allowed po to refer to the AOM for the complete
With the permission of the presiding
enumeration po
officer.
of the findings.
May the witness refer to his notes
Counsel,
to
Your Honor.
refresh his memory.
Maybe just clarify on this matter, just brief, because
Yes, what
yesterday-
is the comment of counsel for
Yesterday,
respondent?
I remember that the witness was only in ICFAO until February 2024. Is that correct? Maybe check the record if that is correct.
Yes,
Your Honor.
2014 to 2024. That's what he said.
Okay, so this AOM for the third quarter was issued August 8, 2024, Your Honor. So he is referring to something that he has no personal knowledge of.
What month did you leave? What month did you leave COA ICFAO, Mr. Ramil?
February of 2024 po.
Your Honor, please, this is preliminary. We would have, if we were allowed to continue with this questioning, Your Honor, that this witness will attest to the fact that he was the one, before he left, he prepared a draft of an AOM for the third quarter. And if I may be allowed, maybe counsel will see the relationship of my question to
Then
this AOM.
witness, kindly not refer to an AOM. If indeed you prepared a draft as you will testify on later, you can refer to your notes, but not the AOM.
My apologies po, Your
Do you
Honor.
have notes pertaining to the draft you prepared, pertaining to the supposed AOM issued after you left COA ICFAO?
I don't have my notes po with me. Pero I can give po yung the additional audit observation po based on my draft po na sinamit sa ICFAO.
May we see the draft, Your Honor, before
Do you have a copy of the draft, Mr. Wamil?
I do not have the copy of draft po with me.
Then
Nasa
we
file po
object,
siya ng
Your
ICFAO.
Counsel, Attorney Caponan, do you have a copy of the draft? Will you be marking it?
No, Your Honor. We are not marking a draft. We are just eliciting from this witness testimonial evidence that before he left, he did prepare a draft which he turned over to his successor in the position, Your Honor. And this will be testified to by our next witness, Your Honor.
But witness is not allowed by the court to refer to the AOM issued after he already left the office. If he did not bring his notes, then he cannot refer to any other document while he is testifying.
We submit, Mr.
Subject to
Sergeant.
those conditions, counsel may proceed.
Your Honor, please, we have finished with the Office of the Vice President for the last quarter of 2022, the first, second, and third quarter, and all the liquidation reports submitted by the respondent Vice President to the COA ICFAO office, Your Honor. We will now go to the Department of Education. And for this, Your Honor, can I ask for a 1-minute recess so I can confer? Just 1 minute, Your Honor.
1 minute recess is granted.
You're watching our continuing coverage of the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte. It is day 12 in the trial, and the prosecution is still presenting their witness for the misuse of confidential funds. They're continuing their direct examination of former COA State Auditor Attorney Roderick Wamil, who audited the OVP's confidential fund liquidations. There are 19 senators present in today's proceedings compared to yesterday's 16. And prior to the proceedings, Presiding Officer Cheese Escudero congratulated Alex Ayala on her win at the Mubadala Open in Washington, D.C. And to begin the proceedings, the prosecution lead counsel Attorney Lorna Capunan asked for a recess similar to yesterday's events, as the prosecution was only able to show half of the 845 acknowledgement receipts needed for stipulation. Presiding Officer Escudero denied the request, reiterating that the defense stipulated to everything except for the acknowledgement receipts from the 11-day period of December 21 to 31, 2022. And from yesterday's acknowledgement receipts, today the prosecution moved on to disbursement vouchers and liquidation reports submitted by the OVP. The 3 disbursement vouchers were for the first 3 quarters of 2023, and Attorney Wamil verified that the 3 disbursement vouchers were compliant with the joint circular except for the lack of signature on the voucher for the third quarter of 2023, which is needed to prove that payment was received. Attorney Wamil also verified that the vouchers were signed by the Vice President based on specimen signatures submitted by the OVP. And the Vice President's signatures on the vouchers certified expenses were necessary, lawful, and incurred under her direct supervision. And the 3 liquidation reports also certified that the purpose of the cash advance was duly accomplished. Aside from that, Attorney Wamil was also verified 125 million withdrawals per quarter by the Office of the Vice President. Right now, there is a recess requested by lead prosecutor Attorney Lorna Kapunan.
We now go to the Department of Education, and Mr. Witness, I will refer you to 3 quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3 for 2024. Mr. Witness, again, to refresh your memory, what periods do these quarters cover? We are now talking about the Department of Education.
Based on their submissions po to the ICFAO, yung first quarter po, ang coverage po noon ay February 20 to March 30, 2023. Yung second quarter po ay April 20 to June 29, 2023. At yung third quarter po ay July 12 to September 29, 2023.
Okay. And the Department of Education, Mr. Witness, please confirm whether or not they submitted documents by way of liquidation for their confidential funds.
Yes, ma'am, they submitted po.
And can you refresh your memory, how much did the Department of Education receive by way of confidential funds for each quarter?
Ang kanilang confidential fund po for each quarter ay 37.5 billion pesos.
37.5 million, a fixed amount?
Yes, ma'am, per quarter.
And were these amounts withdrawn in full?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Based on the documents po na binigay nila sa amin.
Let us now go to these documents that you said were submitted to your office. Who submitted this?
The Department of Education po.
Okay. Now, if you are shown one of these documents, which is a fiscal financial plan for the first to the third quarter of 2023, previously marked as Exhibits P-1-18-A-3, P-1-18-A-B, and P-1-14B. For easy reference, Your Honor, this document stipulated and common exhibit also with the defense, Your Honor, is being shown to the witness and flashed on the screen.
Correct, Your Honor. And the defense,
On the part of the respondent?
On the part of the respondent, these are exhibits D-1-20-DE. Next is D-1-50-DE. And D-1-74-DE.
74, not 79.
74. 74, Your Honors. Okay.
Counsel may proceed.
Mr. Witness, these documents that you're seeing now, there is an annotation approved by. What does approved by mean?
Ang ibig sabihin po ng approved by ay inapprove po nung signatory dito sa box na ito yung contents of the fiscal and financial plan.
And this is in all 3 documents, Mr. Witness?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. There appears to be a signature in these 3 documents. Whose
Assisting
signature
counsel
are
for both
these?
parties may approach the witness and compare the documents they possess.
Please go over these documents and tell us whose signature is this?
Signature po ni Vice President Sara Duterte po.
And you're familiar with this signature for the same reason she stated, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
What does a signature of the secretary, and here it is the signature of the Vice President, concurrently Secretary of Education, Sara Duterte. What does this signature attest to?
Katulad po nung nasabi ko kanina, yung signature niya po rito, ang ibig sabihin ay inapprove niya po yung contents ng physical and financial plan.
I am showing to you now, Mr. Witness, a document which is for the third quarter of 2023. And this is part, as we can see on the screen, this is a part of Exhibit P-1-14-B. Please, for the record, tell us your observations. For the third quarter, for the first, second, and third quarter, as appearing in this exhibit, and in the notes or the documents you're looking at. There is here, can you read? Physical target. Can you read the first column?
Your Honor.
Counsel
just
for
a quick,
respondent.
Interjection, again with the due indulgence and I think the patience of opposing counsel. But if we're talking about the third quarter physical and financial plan, I just wanted to confirm that you were still there when you received these documents, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. That's all. That's all.
It was submitted July 3,
Yes.
2023.
Just wanted to confirm that.
Noted, counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Kapunan, you may proceed.
What observations have you made or did you make as regards the first quarter submission in the physical and financial plan of the DepEd?
Dun sa kanilang physical and financial plan for the first quarter, hindi po naka-indicate yung kanilang specific confidential activities na pagbabasehan po ng kanilang disbursement from the confidential fund.
Nakalagay sa first column, counter-insurgency programs. Did the DepEd submit any evidence on this or documents evidencing what it claims to be expenditures on counter-insurgency programs?
Based on their submissions po, wala po silang sinumit na document.
And it says here, what was the outcome expected from this? If you can read for the record.
Based on this document po for the counter-insurgency program, ang expected outcome po ay to prevent any recruitment by the NPA and other communist and leftist groups towards teachers and students.
And, Mr. Witness, with this submission, did the DepEd, Department of Education, submit any list of NPAs, communist, or leftist groups?
Based on their submissions po, wala naman po silang sinumit.
And the next column, a target to eliminate or reduce recruitment of teachers and learners by communist or leftist groups. Any observation on this?
Since hindi po naka-enumerate yung kanilang specific confidential activities, hindi po naka-match yung kanilang physical target on the specific confidential activities na paggagamitan nila ng kanilang fund from confidential.
There was no list of teachers, no list of learners, nor list of communist or leftist groups appended to any of the documents submitted by the DepEd, Mr. Witness.
Wala po.
For emphasis, please read the amount here.
The amount po is 9,375,000 pesos.
Okay. We go as well to the second quarter. What observations can you make about the second quarter, Mr. Witness?
Same po with the first quarter, hindi rin po naka-indicate yung kanilang specific confidential activities na kanilang paggagamitan ng magiging basis po ng kanilang disbursements from the confidential fund.
Same observation for the third quarter in terms of physical target, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
And the amount, please state for the record, for the second quarter, to eliminate, reduce, recruitment of teachers and learners by communist groups or leftist groups. A function of the DepEd, how much was spent by the DepEd for this function?
For the second quarter po, 9.3 million pesos po.
And for the third quarter?
For the third quarter, 9.2 million pesos po.
Okay. Again, we go now to the second program or activity allegedly conducted by the DepEd. Abuse prevention and control within schools. Mr. Witness, were any documents submitted to show what activities these programs allegedly to prevent abuse and control within schools with the expected objective of reducing abuses against learners? Did the DepEd submit any documents as to list of schools or list of learners or list of or number of abuses?
Based on their submission po, wala po silang sinubmit na document.
And the third column says, increase community participation in reporting cases against learners. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am. Based on
And the
this
same
document
is
po.
true for the second quarter and the third quarter, Mr. Witness.
Based on this document po, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How much was spent on this activity to increase community participation for the first quarter?
For the first quarter po, 10 million pesos.
And the second quarter?
For the second quarter, 10,075,000 pesos po.
And for the third quarter, Mr. Witness?
10,125,000 pesos po.
Okay. And for this community participation, totaling for the three quarters, 30 million. Meron bang listahan ng mga communities kung saan na-increase ang participation nila para sa reporting ng abuses ng mga kabataan? May listahan ba na sinubmit ang DepEd dito?
Wala po silang sinubmit na listahan.
Para sa tatlong quarters, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Punta naman tayo dito sa number 3. Nakalagay dito, anti-illegal activities operations. Meron bang listahan na binigay ang DepEd? Kung ano-ano itong anti-illegal activities operations?
Based on their submission po, wala po silang binigay na listahan.
Itong nakalagay na illegal activities within schools, may listahan ba ng eskwelahan na binigay?
Wala po silang binigay na listahan.
May linagay ba na ano-ano ang tinatawag ng DepEd na illegal activities?
Pwede pa ulit po ng tanong.
Yung mga activities na sinabi dito sa exhibit, may listahan ba kung ano yung illegal activities na gustong eliminate ng DepEd?
Wala po silang binigay na listahan.
Okay, sa third column, nakalagay, increase and heightened conduct of surveillance activities to prevent illegal activities. Again, Mr. Witness, may listahan ba or document ang sinubmit ng DepEd para patunayan na ginastos nga ito?
Wala po silang sinubmit.
And your observation is likewise the same, Mr. Witness, for the second and third quarters. Walang submission na binigay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pakibasa ang amounts involved dito. For the first quarter, ang amount ay
Anong item po, ma'am? Number 3?
number 3, yung tinatawag na anti-illegal activities operations. Magkano? Magkano ginastos ng DepEd?
For the first quarter po, 9 million pesos. For the second quarter, 9.1 million pesos. And for the third quarter, 9,140,000 pesos po.
Ano ang arithmetic nun? 9 times 8, almost 30 million.
27,240,000 pesos po.
Nawala, 27 million, nawala namang kasamang document para sabihin kung ano yung mga illegal activities na yan. Lastly, Mr. Witness, anti-extremism at terrorism programs. Extremism and terrorism programs ng DepEd. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Nakalagay dito sa second column,
Your Honor,
pakibasa.
Your Honor
yung
will
second
object
column.
to the question, anong ibig sabihin? Because obviously this is something submitted by the DepEd and the witness is not competent enough to testify what DepEd meant.
Your Honor, I was just reading it. In fact, there is no question on what is this.
Then I apologize for that. I just heard anong ibig sabihin.
Winidraw ko na yun,
Apa,
Counsel.
sorry.
Sa second column, gather information necessary for the implementation of general peace and order. Peace and order within the department. Within the department. Meron bang sinubmit na documents dito, Mr. Witness?
Anong document po ulit yan, ma'am?
Itong nakalagay dito, to gather information necessary for the implementation of general peace and order within the department. Tama bang basa ko? Hindi within the country. Within their own department. What documents were submitted to evidence this information gathered?
Wala po silang sinamit na document.
Last list. Intensifies, next column. Intensify background investigation of DepEd personnel and learners involved. Terrorist groups sa campus involved in terrorist groups. Mr. Witness, any evidence of this intensification? Pinatibay daw ang background information kasi daw merong terrorist groups sa mga eskwelahan. Ano naman ang dokumentong sinabmit ng DepEd para patunayan? Natunay nga na may terrorist ang mga eskwelahan. Meron ba? Submit the documents.
Wala po silang sinabit.
Okay, and this is the same for the second quarter and the third quarter. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
For the record, what are the amounts spent, allegedly? Magkano ang ginastos ng DepEd para mawalan ng terrorist ang mga eskwelahan? 9 million, correct? For the first quarter, can you read?
Based on the documents submitted po, for the counterinsurgency program, 9,375,000 pesos.
For the second quarter?
For the second quarter, 9.3 million pesos.
And for the third quarter?
9.2 million pesos po.
And, pakibasa. Basahin mo lahat.
For the number 2, yung abuse
Total.
prevention.
I'm sorry. Sa second quarter, nasabi mo na yun.
Can you clarify your question po?
For the first quarter, sinabi mo 9,125,000. Second quarter, magkano?
9.3 million pesos po.
And for the third quarter?
9.2 million pesos.
Okay. Ang total, anong significance nito? Pag in-addition mo lahat, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, at lahat ng activities na sinabi dito na wala naman dokumento, 37 million pumatak per quarter. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Based on the document po, yung total po ay 37.5 million pesos
A fixed amount.
per quarter.
A fixed amount for the first quarter, 37.5, Mr. Witness.
Based on this document po, yes ma'am.
Another fixed amount for the second quarter.
Based on this document po, yes ma'am.
Another fixed amount for the third quarter.
Based on this document po, yes po.
Sino naman ang pumirma dito? Again, Mr. Witness, na nakalagay approved by.
Ang nakapirma po dito ay si Vice President Sara Duterte po.
And that is her signature,
Yes ma'am.
which you are familiar with for the same reason you said earlier.
Yes ma'am.
We now go to 3 liquidation documents, which are land bank checks, again stipulated to by the counsel for the respondent. These are land bank checks, number 0000453, dated February 20, 2023, Exhibit P-1-20-A. Another land bank check, 000000964, dated April 19, 2023, and another land bank check number 000000250, dated 11 July 2023, marked by prosecution respectively as Exhibit P-1-20-A, P-1-20-B, and P-1-20-C, being flashed on the screen and shown by Attorney Peña to the witness.
For the record, Counsel for Respondent, these are your exhibits. What again for the record?
For the check ending 0453 dated February 20, 2023, Your Honors, that was marked as Exhibit D-1-3-DE. For the check dated July 11, 2023, check ending number 2250, that is Exhibit D-1-57-DE. And for the other check, ending 0964, dated April 19, I believe, 2023, this is D-1-27-DE, Your Honor.
Correct. Duly noted. Counsel may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, tell us, Mr. Witness, ano naman ang significance ditong mga tatlong land bank checks na nakalagay dito sa screen at na-examine mo?
Ang significance po ng land bank checks na ito ay ito po yung proof na pwede nilang i-withdraw yung kanilang cash advances po.
And anong periods covered?
Based on the documents po na mention na pakita earlier, for the first quarter, ang period covered po ay February 20 to March. May I refer po to the documents for the period po, Your Honor?
Witness may do so with respect to the, you're referring to the physical and financial plan?
To the ano po?
Or to the check? Not the check.
To the land bank checks, Your Honor.
No, the question, Counsel, is for what period does it cover? It's not in the check.
What periods do these 3 checks cover?
Yes po. For the first quarter po, since wala pong nakalagay dito sa checks na period covered po, ma'am. Pero yung first check po is for the first quarter 2023. For the yung next check po is for the second quarter 2023, and for the yung third check po is for the third quarter of 2023.
We now go to the next set of liquidation documents, and you will be shown disbursement voucher dated January 31, 2023, disbursement voucher dated April 19, 2023, and disbursement voucher dated 11 July 2023, successively marked as Exhibit P-1-19A, Exhibit P-1-19B, and Exhibit P-1-19C for the prosecution stipulated exhibits, Your Honor, with the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor.
On the part of the respondent?
On the part of the respondent, it is Exhibit D-1-5-DE, Exhibit D-1-29-DE, and the last one, Your Honor, is Exhibit D-1-58-DE.
Noted. Attorney Gabonan, you may proceed.
Mr. Witness, for what periods were these disbursement vouchers given for?
Based on these disbursement vouchers po, yung una po ay for the first quarter of 2023, yung pangalawa ay second quarter of 2023, at yung pangatlo po, hindi po nakalagay kung anong specific quarter po.
Now, Mr. Witness, you have gone over this document and it's being flashed on the screen for easy reference of the impeachment court. Any observations that you may have with regards to these 3 disbursement vouchers?
Itong disbursement vouchers po na ito ay inapprove ni Undersecretary Annalyn M. Sevilla in violation po nung joint circular na ang nakalagay po ay the head of the agency shall be responsible for the approval of the cash advances.
Sino naman tong pumirma?
Based on these disbursement vouchers po, si Undersecretary Annalyn M. Sevilla.
Again, why is this a violation?
Dahil under the joint circular po, it is the responsibility of the head of the agency to approve the cash advances po.
And who is the head of the DepEd?
The head po of DepEd during the period covered by these cash advances po ay si Vice President Sara Duterte.
Okay. There appears a signature in each of these 3 documents. Whose signature are these, if you know?
Ito po ay mga pirma ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
And significantly, Mr. Witness, it says here, Vice President of the Philippines and Secretary of Education. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Based on these documents po, yes ma'am.
For the first quarter. The second quarter also is above the inscription, Vice President of the Philippines and Secretary of Department of Education. You confirm that, Mr. Witness?
Yes ma'am.
And for the third quarter, it is signed. Signature, which you identified, is above the annotation, Vice President and Secretary of the Department of Education. Mr. Witness, confirming this?
Yes ma'am.
And what is the significance, Mr. Witness, of the Vice President, concurrently DepEd Secretary's signature to these 3 documents?
Sinertify po ni Vice President Sara Duterte as the Secretary of Education na yung cash advances po ay kailangan batas at incurred po under her direct supervision.
Can you read from your copy, and it's flashed on the screen, yung particulars nito, above, for the first document, above the signature of the Vice President, concurrently Secretary of Education. Pakibasa kasi,
What particular box po ma'am?
kasi this first document,
What particular box po?
the one that says particulars and is above. Pakibasa kasi ang dilim, hindi ko makita.
Particulars, first quarter CY 2023 cash advance, payment of allotments under the maintenance and other operating expenses authorized under the page 376 of RA number 11936 of the General Appropriations Act, fiscal year 2023, and section 85, page 778 of the General Provisions FY 2023.
Okay. Itong binasa mo ng particulars, ito ba ay confidential funds?
Hindi po
Or
naka-indicate
relating
dito.
to confidential funds, yung certification na to?
Hindi po naka-indicate dito na yung kanilang disbursement ay for the confidential fund of the DepEd.
Okay. Kung alam mo, what is it for?
Based on this document po, ang nakalagay ay payment of allotments under the MOOE.
Anong ibig sabihin ng MOOE? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kung hindi ito confidential funds, ano naman itong MOOE na pinaggamitan ng pera na confidential funds ng Vice President cum Secretary of Education?
Yung MOOE po kasi kasama yun doon sa kanilang regular funds.
Regular funds.
Yes, ma'am.
Ang regular funds ba, paki-explain lang sa akin from a layman's point of view. Ano ang regular funds at ano ang confidential funds?
Yung regular funds po ng agency, yun yung kanilang pondo na ginagamit nila for their operations and yun po. Well, yung confidential fund po, ito po yung specific lump sum ng agency which is to be used for their confidential operations.
At pareho rin ang annotation dito sa second disbursement voucher at third disbursement voucher, Mr. Witness, na ito ay patunay na dinisburse ang mga pondo para sa confidential funds para sa operational expenses.
Pwede pong paulit po ng tanong.
So, ang sinasabi ko, I will reform. So, itong disbursement voucher na nakalagay dito, sinabi mo, when asked, you explained that this appears to be, ito nakalagay dito, a liquidation ng expenses na hindi naman para sa liquidation ng confidential funds. Kasi confidential to ng regular funds niya, tama?
Disbursement voucher pa lang po ito. Disbursement voucher pa lang po itong
Disbursement voucher,
document.
disbursement voucher na sinasubmit para liquidating document para sa confidential fund, Mr. Witness?
It is one of the documents po submitted to support the liquidation.
At you confirm na nakalagay dito, operational expenses.
Based on these documents po, maintenance and other operating expenses.
Maintenance and other operational expenses. Yung maintenance and other operational expenses ba ay nasa listahan kung ano ang allowed sa joint circular na expenses para sa confidential funds, maintenance, and other expenses. Kasama ba yan sa tinatawag mong exclusive listahan ng pwede paggamitan ng confidential funds, Mr. Witness?
Pag sinabing maintenance and other operating expenses po, wala po siya specifically dun sa enumeration ng item 4.8.
At sinabi mo, exclusive. Pag wala sa listahan, bawal. Tama, Mr. Witness?
Under 4.8 po.
Under
Yes,
4.8 of the circular. The same observations, Mr. Witness, for the second and third quarter. Ang nakalagay dito ay regular funds, maintenance, and MOOE, hindi confidential funds. Based on your documents, for the second and third quarter, Mr. Witness.
Based on these documents, nakalagay po MOOE and not confidential fund.
Okay. Punta naman tayo sa next set of documents, Mr. Witness. Mr. Witness, you want to drink water?
Okay lang po.
Inom ka ng tubig. Baka pagod ka na. Pero konti na lang. Okay. Punta naman tayo sa next set of documents. Ito naman ay liquidation report dated March 31, 2023, liquidation report dated June 30, 2023, and liquidation report dated September 29, 2023. Exhibits P-1-18-A, Exhibit P-1-18-B, and Exhibit P-1-18-C, respectively, common stipulated document with the defense, Your Honor.
For the respondent,
For the respondent, it
For the
is
respondent.
respectively,
it is D-1-2-DE. Next would be D-1-26-DE. And the third one would be D-1-55-DE, Your Honor.
correct. Noted. Counsel, please proceed.
Mr. Witness, please look at your document again at pakibasa yung particulars. Sa first liquidation report, anong period covered ito?
Based on this liquidation report po, February 20, 2023 to March 30, 2023.
At anong nakalagay dito? First quarter nakalagay, and it says here particulars. Again, madilim. Pakibasa itong nakalagay under the column particulars.
Under the column particulars, ang nakalagay po ay to liquidate the cash advance granted for payment of operational MOOE expenses of the Vice President, Secretary of Department, covered by check number 000000453, dated February 20, 2023, with DB number 2023-02-02987.
Mr. Witness, sinabi mo MOOE na naman. Maintenance and other operational expenses. Ito ba ay allowed as liquidation ng confidential funds under your joint circular 2015?
Kung MOOE po yung expense, hindi po siya kasama doon sa specific enumeration ng joint circular under item 4.8.
At kagaya ng sinabi mo, exclusive ang listahan at bawal ang wala sa listahan. Tama, Mr. Witness?
Yes, ma'am.
The same observation can be made. Second quarter, tama, Mr. Witness, and third quarter.
Based on these documents po, yes po.
The second quarter covering what period for the record?
For the second quarter, ang nakalagay po dun sa liquidation report, April to June 30, 2023.
And the third quarter, Mr. Witness?
Ang nakalagay po dun sa liquidation report, July to September 30, 2023.
At pareho rin nakalagay. Walang reference sa confidential funds. At sinabi mo earlier, itong MOOE, maintenance and other expenses, are dapat kasama sa regular funds, hindi confidential funds, Mr. Witness.
Yes po, ma'am.
At meron dito sa bottom portion, signature. In all three documents, there is a signature appearing thereat. Pakitingin ng signature na yan.
What particular portion po yung tinutukoy niyo, ma'am?
In the bottom portion, Mr. Witness, flashed on the screen.
Who certified the document, Mr. Wamil?
Based on these documents po, sinertify po ni Secretary and Vice President Sara Duterte yung Box B ng liquidation reports.
For all three quarters?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed, Counsel.
What is the significance? Ano ang nakikita mong signature dito? Signature ni Vice President, tama? Sa three quarters?
Based on these documents, yes, ma'am.
Based on this document. Ano naman ang significance? Ano ang importance ng nakikita natin?
Good morning, I'm Cheska Liton-Calao. Here are the latest stories at this hour. Day 12 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial resumes with the prosecution scrutinizing documents linked to the OVP's confidential fund spending. The court declared a quorum with 19 senator judges present. Former COA Auditor Edwin Roderick Wamil continues his testimony on the OVP's confidential fund liquidations. Wamil identified 3 disbursement vouchers signed by Duterte, certifying that the expenses were necessary, lawful, and incurred under her direct supervision. He said Duterte's signatures matched the specimen signatures submitted by the OVP. Wamil also flagged a third quarter 2023 voucher with an unsigned receipt of payment portion. The defense has stipulated to most of the prosecution's documents except the acknowledgement receipts, which it plans to question during cross-examination. At this point, let's get an update from the defense team. We have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, go ahead.
Yes, Cheska, nakita nga natin na manakanakang objection ang ginagawa ng defense team ni Vice President Sara Duterte kaugnay ng pagpapatuloy ng presentasyon ng Article 1 of impeachment o yung umano'y maling paggasta ng confidential at intelligence funds sa mga opisina na
Arles, the connection is choppy. Hopefully we can get Arles de los Santos back later on. Thank you, mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Let's move on. Let's move over to the prosecution. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza is now reporting live from the Senate. Amy, go ahead.
no, kung saan kanina nakita natin na
the side of the
disbursement
prosecution
vouchers.
no, prosecution pagdating dito sa witness na si Roderick Wamil na siyang former state auditor ng Commission on Audit for Intelligence and Confidential Funds Unit. At nakita na natin kanina na meron pang line of questioning pagdating doon sa acknowledgement receipts na ipiniresenta mismo ng prosecution dahil dito nga makikita no, Cheska, yung mga confirmation na ito ay may authorization ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Kasabay niyan ay nakita rin natin no, na kulang nga daw doon sa supporting documents at official receipts na ipinasa ang Office of the Vice President maging ang Department of Education para masuffice nga yung kinakailangang liquidation report or accomplishment report from both offices of the Vice President. Kahapon din, Cheska, no, nagkaroon nga ng press conference kasama itong prosecution team na banggit na no, ng ilan sa mga miyembro no, ng prosecution na tuloy-tuloy na magiging ganito yung takbo ng presentasyon nila, lalo na dahil later on, if matapos man, ay inaasahan natin nating makita yung next witness for the prosecution who is Celine Del Campo na siya ngayon ang current state auditor of the COA ICFAO. So right now, antabayanan lang natin kung ano pa nga ba yung magiging developments when it comes to the confidential funds of Vice President Sara Duterte, most especially or most particularly on the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education.
All right, thank you, mobile journalist Amy Atienza. I'm Cheska Calao, kapatid. We are One News.